Hello, welcome to What We Into. I'm your host, Lauren Style.
And I'm Rob Carmen Robinson.
This week we will be discussing Blade 2.
What? AKA The Blood Hunter.
Blood Hunters. And also, the new Avengers trailer. And also, some news. And also, anything else?
No, I think you pretty much covered it.
My baby's in the backseat, reading a magazine. I'm in the front seat, cooking up a dirty scheme.
Oh, Christmas. I mean, it is can this be considered our holiday episode? I mean, should we?
That'll be next week. Next week's going to
okay.
be Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll do a Christmas tie-in or some sort of Christmas thing. What do you think about my Christmas tree here?
I mean, I came in and I touched it to ask if it was plastic. That's how fresh it is. I was like, is this a fake tree? Why does it not bend so weird? Like, I was like, oh, because it's real.
It's real.
What was that, like a 7-foot tree?
Yeah, it's like 6.5 feet. Guess how much a 6.5 foot Christmas
$75.
tree costs in New York?
$75.
$120.
Fuck yourself.
We're also in an expensive neighborhood, so they
Wait, did they? Okay.
Yes.
2 questions. 1, did you pick it out yourself? 2, did you have to drag it from the spot to the place?
Yes.
You had to drag it. They didn't even deliver it for you.
Nope.
Wow. Wow.
So every couple ever,
Okay.
it's me and Laurel and the kids, and we're trying to figure out how to carry this Christmas tree 10 blocks.
Sounds awful.
And we get into a big fight.
Are you serious about how to carry the Christmas tree home?
Because at first I'm in front and I'm carrying like
Most of the weight?
Of course. And Laurel's like, "You're walking too fast. So I slow down, and then she starts pushing it.
Wait.
And she's like, "You're walking too slow now."
So you guys knew you guys were going to get a tree, and instead of bringing, I don't know, a sled or some sort of apparatus
What would you bring to carry? This is a 7-foot Christmas. What would carry that?
like a rolling dolly, maybe? Just put it on the
it-
dolly and kind of like roll it. Or don't the kids have like a red flyer wagon or something? You ain't got a wagon with a pull handle, man?
That wouldn't even have helped. That would have helped. The red flyer. No, it's New York.
Radio flyer.
Radio flyer. They're red flyer.
That's why we work good together, man. That's why we work good together.
But we have no space. You don't have that kind of stuff.
Oh,
That's why.
dang. I mean, skateboard. I mean, a skateboard. Something with wheels, bro, is all I mean. I mean, I feel like your life would have been a lot easier if you had something with wheels, regardless of its actual nature.
So we have one present under the tree.
That's gangster. Wait, is that? It's not even wrapped though.
No, it's not.
It's
It's
just
like it just came.
in the mail. So that's how y'all doing Christmas now. Y'all like, it's not from Santa. Santa's Amazon.
It is actually for you.
Oh wait, is this my figure? Is my action figure?
You have to. This is gonna be What We Into unboxing
Oh,
episode.
all right. I'm gonna save that.
No. Open it now.
Right now?
No, yeah, we're not gonna make people wait.
All right.
It's a special present.
Is this the one that we talked about in episode 1?
Yes.
Well, if you don't know, go back and listen to episode 1 if you want a spoiler as to what I'm getting. And I'm not even going to describe what it is. I already know what it is, but yeah. Yo, this is going on the mantle with my other action figures.
It's got blonde hair. You got to
it's
describe
almost
it. Tell
perfect.
the audience what you got.
So I got the Simon Phoenix action figure. Simon Phoenix from the Demolition Man movies, also from the first episode of What We Into. So it's about a 4-inch action figure, not a little bit bigger than a G.I. Joe, and he doesn't have very moving parts. His hip joints move and his shoulder joints move, and his arms are permanently locked in a 90-degree angle with holes in his hands for some kind of gun apparatus, I'm sure.
Or whatever he wants to.
He's rocking a turquoise shirt with bandolier gun belts.
Just like in the movie. No.
And not at all. And white cargo pants with a knife in his boot.
Yeah. Blade. Nice.
If only.
Nice.
This is so great. And then the sound of bubble wrap.
Bubble wrap. Oh, they're gonna
there
love
you go.
that.
There you go, guys. That's now the intimacy of radio is what that's about. But yo, thank you. I didn't get you anything, man.
That's not for Christmas.
mean,
that's just for fun. I'm gonna get you something better for
that's
Christmas.
Rad. That's super rad.
Doesn't
Does he
even-
stand? Does he-
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. And he's standing. The flowers are still standing.
Well, it is our third episode. We did it.
We did it.
We made
We made it,
three
man.
episodes. So
All
this
right.
means if you don't know what's going on with podcasts, they usually recommend if you're going to put it on iTunes to have 3 episodes before you do. So this is our third episode. Finally, we made it here, and yeah. So I guess that, I don't know what I was. I don't know what I had a point there, and I totally forgot it already.
I'll have what he's having.
Yeah, exactly. So let's we're gonna.
So do we want to jump into news? We want to jump into news first?
Yeah,
or?
let's do news first. I wonder if I can't tell if people like the news or if they hate the news, but we're gonna do news first. Then we're gonna do Blade 2.
Blade.
And yeah, and then we'll do that afterwards. So the first bit of news. This came from Variety, and it's about our buddy who we went to school with, Rami Malek.
Killing it.
He's being eyed for a Bond villain.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like that idea?
I love that idea. I think he'll kill it.
Yeah.
I think he kills it.
At first, I was like,
Rami is a Bond villain? Hell yeah. Villains are the most fun to play.
he's so
Hands
skinny
down.
though. He's not. Is he an intimidating bot? He's kind of. I guess.
Dude,
Yeah, he
look,
could be intimidating. Now that I think about it.
Have you like? So I don't know. There was a story, and this may or may not be true. There's a story about when Rami went to Harlexton.
Tell him what Harlexton is.
Okay, so Harlexton
Don't
was.
get too personal because we have secrets about Rami Malek, but we don't want to give those.
Oh well, this is how I know he'd be a good Bond villain.
Okay.
And it may be alleged.
Oh, but you
I
weren't in
wasn't there.
Harlexton.
I didn't go. I didn't get to go to Harlexton.
So for the audience, Harlexton is a little tiny castle, is the best way to describe it, about an hour north of London.
It was the study abroad program for the University of Evansville.
Right.
It was where you got to go for a semester if you chose to, get the cultural vibe of what it was to be in England, I guess.
I went.
A bunch of cats did, and Rami went. And this is a story I heard from cats who came back or who was there with him and came back. But there was one night they were all down at the pub, they were drinking or whatever, and Rami saw someone getting hassled or like getting hemmed up outside of this pub, and he immediately puts his drink down, goes outside, and basically confronts these guys.
Total strangers.
Total strangers, and like ended up getting to like a fist fight with one of them, and like saved some chick from being like accosted or something like this. Like
there's a woman involved.
Of course.
That sounds very much like. I was like, why would Rami?
Oh, there was a girl involved.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. There you go.
I mean, I thought that was obvious, but no.
No.
But no. Yeah, he went to defend someone's like. I think he could crush it because villains have the most fun, and Rami being Rami, yeah.
Do you? What was your favorite Bond villain that you can think of?
Ooh, that's easy. That's either it's Baron Samedi from
Live and let
oh my
die.
God, it's the one with Domino and is it you only die twice? Or,
Live and let
it's the one that's set with the voodoo background and Yaphet Kotto plays the Bond villain.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
You only die.
No.
Die-
live and
What? The Paul McCartney song, "Live and Let Die."
Live and let
There
die.
you go.
That's the
Live
one.
and
I have the record over here. Hold on, I'll pull it out.
I mean,
real
the
quick.
soundtrack is dope. But yeah, that's my favorite Bond
Here it is, right here.
because representation matters.
Yes.
I'm dead ass.
I have not seen this. I have not seen "Live and Let Die" in a long time.
It's been a minute, but it's hands down one of my favorites.
Oh, I don't know. It looks pretty racist to me.
I mean,
There's your boy. That's who you're talking about with the top hat.
yeah, with the top
yeah.
hat, Baron Samedi
Oh yeah, here.
with a half face. Yeah, that was my favorite.
Yeah, half his face painted white, half black.
let die.
That song is so good though.
live and
Oh my
let
God, that song is so
die.
So there's a lot of different Bond villains that are really good. 'Cause at first I was like, don't do it because you can do it better. Something
What
better.
about old boy from that was in the No Country for Old Men? What's his? He was in the
Well, okay.
not Sky. Was it not the one before Skyfall?
Oh, you're talking about Javier Bardem.
Bardem.
Yeah.
He's not a big.
That wasn't
dude.
Skyfall. I thought that was
No.
Sky.
What?
That's Skyfall. Remember,
Is that
because they go
Skyfall?
back and Javier Bardem.
With the castle?
It's not a very satisfying ending to Skyfall because he's there with a helicopter and they're just like shooting.
This is the one where his fate. Okay, you're right.
Yes,
You're right.
that's
You're right.
Skyfall, and that's Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen was Le Chief.
Yes, Le Chief.
Le
Yeah.
Chief, right? That was in Casino Royale. Before Mads, it was Orson Welles.
Oh, word.
And before Orson Welles, I believe it was Peter Lorre. who
Well,
played that character.
who's your favorite Bond villain?
I like Jaws.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, he was gangster.
There's something
Yeah, he was
like
gangster.
kind of Michael Shannon about Jaws.
Yeah, very much so.
And I like that he was in 2 different movies.
Well, speaking of Michael Shannon, and this is a weird, this just a tangent that it makes me go on. They're making a Bad Boys 3.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I knew that, but I knew that they were gonna,
Well, Michael Shannon was in Bad Boys 2.
Oh, he was.
He like a bit like
Oh,
he
man.
has this bit role where they lock him in the trunk and then they have a car chase scene.
Oh, he's gonna come back for the 3rd one for sure.
You think so?
No.
Like he was a complete unknown at this point. Like
That is a good piece of trivia.
it was kind of crazy because I was like, holy shit, that's Michael Shannon that they pull out of the trunk of that motherfucking Bad Boys. Yeah.
So Bad Boys 2, what was that,
That-
like 98
oh
or
my
something?
god, I want to say early aughts maybe.
Oh,
I want to say 202.
202. So I wonder what Michael Shannon was doing at the time of Bad Boys 2. I'm going to look it up here. Bad Boys 2. That was 2003. So it's a year actually
I'll
after
tell you.
Blade 2, which we're talking
No
about.
kidding. Okay.
Let's see. I just want to see if he even comes up under IMDb here.
Oh, if he gets the credit, I'm sure he gets because he has more than a little scene with them in it.
Floyd Poteet.
Is it on there?
Yeah. His
See?
character's name is Floyd Poteet in Bad Boys 2.
And he plays a meth head or like a white supremacist like drug dealer.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Shannon works, man. He's
Oh,
been
yeah.
in so many things.
He's been in the game a little bit.
And actually,
He's been in the
it's
game
not
a
a bad connection to Rami Malek because they have like a similar, and I think we talked about this before.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have a similar sensibility and a
Yeah.
similar kind of look.
Yeah.
So before, he was in a ton of stuff. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
in Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
He was in Vanilla Sky.
Didn't remember that.
He was in 8 Mile.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Michael Shannon was in 8 Mile.
He's done the rounds, my G. He's done the rounds.
And then he played Grand Theft Parsons right after. Oh, and before Bad Boys 2, he was in Kangaroo Jack. Kangaroo
wow.
Jack.
Oh wow.
Anyways, I like Jaws. He was in Moonraker. He was in The
He
Spy
did a
Who
couple
Loved
of them.
Me.
Yeah.
Odd Job was a good one.
It's weird. Well,
That was Goldfinger.
yeah. It's rare that they have the villain like Odd Job return from multiple movies.
Yeah.
So I think that's a credit to how awesome he was as a villain and the sort of continuation of those stories.
Well, it creates a universe when
Right.
it's not just Bond
Right.
fighting new people every time.
Right.
It creates this universe.
Well, I
they
feel
did that
like
with Blofeld too.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
He's the main Bond villain, I think.
or
Christoph-
Mr. White, the guy who played Mr. White from the Casino Royale. The one who he catches up to at the end of what was it? I think it was at the end of Casino Royale. He catches up to him, shoots him.
Oh,
at-
right. Yeah,
at
yeah.
the top of this.
right.
Right.
Shoots him in the leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. That looked painful. I remember watching that part and being like,
And he
that
had
looks
him crawl
painful.
across the gravel. Yeah.
Ugh. So yeah, that's great. So I think that's a good idea for Rami to do it.
I think if his people aren't like pushing him to do it, he should get new people because
I'm sure. Yeah, I think he's got great agents
Yeah.
working for. I think I don't know. I totally lost my train of thought there for a second. I don't
that's
know.
twice in this
I know.
episode.
I'm
right?
just warming up.
What's
I
on
gotta
the mind?
warm up. I gotta relax a little.
I mean,
Relax here.
we're doing this in one take, y'all. There are no
There are edits.
internal edits or cuts.
I have to edit out all of the every time this thing flashes like a little red dot. That's an edit I have to do. Just wait. You'll see. Boop, boop. See exactly. Yeah, that's an edit. Yeah, I think that's a good idea for him. Oh, I remember what I was saying. So the stipulation is that he has to finish filming Mr. Robot in order
done.
to have time to do this new
Show's
Bond
over.
villain.
He's done.
No, Mr. Robot, that's 3rd season. I don't think it's over. I think they're filming right now.
Oh. Well, I know they're not making any more seasons after this.
Yes. This is gonna be the last one. I think. Yeah. I think Rami's ready to move on, and
I think for this character, for that show, that Half-Life is about 3 seasons.
I think it's a good idea because when shows run on way too long, it sucks.
Yeah.
Because you can just tell they're just trying to get more money out of you.
Yeah.
But I also think Sam Esmail, the creator, I think he's probably ready to move on too. There was talk that he was supposed to do a Metropolis thing for HBO, and I've heard nothing about that in like 2 years.
Interesting.
That would be cool, unless they felt like Westworld came out and that was too similar. Because Metropolis, Westworld is kind of a similar idea.
Okay.
So yeah, we can move on. Netflix has announced a Ghost in the Shell show.
Yeah,
I gotta
saw
pull
that.
up actually.
I saw that. Yeah, I did see that.
I didn't learn if it was live action or if it was.
No,
gonna
it's
be
an anime.
cartoon.
It's
an
an
anime. Okay, good.
Yeah,
so you did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had trouble. They actually have had trouble producing those things.
It's interesting that like this is in recent weeks Netflix has also announced that I think they've gotten the property rights for Evangelion.
Oh yeah,
I think
that's coming out. Yeah,
I think that's finally coming to Netflix.
Did you ever watch that?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Dude, it's quintessential and like powerful anime. Like if you're not into animation, if you like, oh, animation doesn't do it for me, that might be a foray, a way to get in. It deals with some real like dark and crazy subject matter for preteen. It's almost like, you know, what's that
It's about
young adult novels or whatever. It's kind of like a young adult novel, but long form.
Right.
And it's interspersed with like really great music. The soundtrack is kind of crazy. That they like the main character is really into, I think, Beethoven or classical music. So like the show opens with him listening on these old school recorders. It's kind of nostalgic too, in this like really early 90s anime style where they had finally sort of like solidified action anime in this way. Some of these action sequences are gnarly and the story is incredible. Like humanity is like on the verge of extinction and the only thing staving off these monsters are children, basically. And children that can operate these, 100-foot tall mechas,
and it's
ostensibly. Except they're not really mechas. They're.
Is it the trope of the dad bequeaths the mech to the son? Because that's like every anime.
Kind of, because initially they can't figure out. There's this one mecha, air quotes, that is that they can't seem to figure out why it doesn't work well. And what happens is like these things have to have a compatibility with a human subject in order for them to operate. And for whatever reason, this one mecha has this preternatural, unnatural connection to this particular kid, and it only comes online when he comes back to visit his father from like boarding school. Like this main character's been sent away at the top of the anime. This main character's been sent away by his father to like boarding school, so he hasn't seen his dad, who is like the head of this program. It's deep. I mean, I could get into it, but we would be here for a while because it's not an easy one. It's not an easy one to watch, really, but it's you should.
I want to see a movie or an anime where somebody sends their kid off to like military school, and the kid's like a total screw up, and he goes to military school, and then he comes back, and he's like perfect and better, and the movie ends.
That would be a shitty anime. No one would watch.
I never picked up Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah.
Because there were so many. This is back in like when you could only find anime at like one entertainment shop in the mall, and it was on VHS. And it was $27.
Oh.
And it was part 3.
That's what happened for living in Indiana. I lived in Houston, where like more than half of my neighbors were either Vietnamese or Chinese. So like I was getting like the bootlegs.
That's awesome, really?
I would literally get like the bootlegs the next week because my Chinese buddy would have it and he would just throw me the tape.
I hunted around for that stuff for so long. I had Akira on VHS, and it was the bad English dub version, which is not. If you watch Akira now, they got a much better translation.
Oh, yeah.
But the translation back then, I can still remember the bad translation.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. We are some old heads, bro.
Yeah, we are. Same with Ghost in the Shell, though.
VHS twice.
Yeah.
Nobody. Leave in the comment section, VHS. What's your favorite VHS movie that you either still own or would like to have kept?
Oh, none of them. They were terrible.
You gave me G.I. Joe.
That's right.
You gave me G.I. Joe.
That was the last
VHS,
VHS I owned. I think was G.I. Joe the movie, and that was still 20 years ago. When I gave that to you. That was another movie that we could do here because I know that movie very, very well. G.I. Joe.
I would definitely do a refresher. I would have to go back and watch it. And even some of those old G.I. Joe episodes,
it holds up.
It does. I was gonna say it holds up. The animation may not all the time, but the stories themselves and the character development themselves that holds up all the way through all of those things.
because Laurel, my wife Laurel, lovely Laurel, she had never seen G.I. Joe, and it was late one night, and
never seen G.I. Joe,
the animated G.I. Joe, and so we were sitting there.
Laurel, man, what?
Yeah, we were sitting there, and I saw it on Netflix or somewhere, and I started playing it, and I was like, "You should watch this. You've never seen it. It's actually really good." And she started getting really into it, but it was like 2 a.m, so she couldn't.
Of course,
so we never
Laurel's
finished it.
MO, as far as I've known her, is let's watch a movie,
Yes.
and then 15, 30 minutes into it, she's passed out.
Right. Well, when you're not here, though, even when you are here, a lot of times her feet come up to my
Oh,
lap.
oh, yeah.
And
And
as soon as I
that
start
happens,
rubbing those feet,
she's out. Yeah.
So,
I've seen it happen on multiple occasions.
yeah. To go back to our one of our news notes from last week, the Snake Eyes movie.
Uh-huh.
Oh God, I can't remember his name now. It just slipped away from me. But
The actor?
Darth Maul played Snake Eyes.
Ray Park?
Ray Park. So he's not going to reprise the role of Snake Eyes, or at least they're not offering it to him, because I think they probably want to use an actor whose face at some point they can show.
Right.
For
Well,
that movie.
they could show Park's face. He has a decent Snake Eyes face.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes is a white guy.
Yeah, I think but he's too old now. He's got to be like 50.
Really? Ray Park?
Yeah.
Ray Park is not 50 years
Dude,
old.
okay. Back to IMDb.
Ray Park is maybe mid-40s. He's probably like a little older than we are.
Ray Park, actor, let's see, born 1974, so he's 6 years younger. So he is 40. Yeah, okay, yeah, so he's in his...
Come on, dog. 50? I just saw him he was at some Comic-Con, right? And some nerd threw him like a lightsaber, and he just started clowning with it just for cameras, just for Instagram peoples. It was awesome.
Oh,
and he does not look 50.
Actually, on here it says that it's rumored that he will play Snake Eyes.
Really?
And then there's something in red that says announced.
I don't see why he wouldn't.
I could be wrong.
I don't see why he wouldn't. Like, Snake Eyes is a white guy, and if he already played the role, it just makes sense. Just let him do it.
Let him do it.
He's famous enough. We
Let
already know
the
what he
man
does.
do it. He was back as Maul in Solo Star Wars Story.
Yeah? Was that him?
That was him, yeah.
Couldn't tell that. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, and then nothing else. He was Toad in X-Men.
I knew that. I like it when...
It's a terrible X-Men character, by the way.
Well,
it was awful.
I mean, I disagree. I think the design of him in those movies, yes, but Toad as an X-Men character, like for the comics,
that's what I'm talking about.
Is dope.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what else do I got here? Did you watch the Brightburn trailer?
Brightburn. No.
Okay, so there's a new movie coming out. I don't know when. We're not good at details, but there's a new movie coming out by the Gunn brothers. Apparently, James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, he has 2 other brothers who are directing this movie, Brightburn, and then he is the producer of it. And essentially, it's a very easy concept to understand. It's like, what if Superman came to Earth, right? As Superboy, a couple finds him in the woods, and then they raise him. They can't have babies, so they're very, very happy to find this child in the woods. There's probably some sort of alien ship or something that they bury essentially in the basement.
Okay.
And so everything's cool, but then
so it happens in a rural area.
Yes, a rural area, and but what if Superboy is evil?
That's not unlike a few years, maybe like.
You talking about Chronicle?
No, I'm talking about like there was in DC did a storyline where instead of coming down in Russia, instead of coming down in America, Superman came down in Russia.
Yes.
And became an ally for the Russians.
I would rather see that than this.
And that's kind of what they're riffing here.
Yeah. If you watch the trailer, for what happens to me, because as a parent, I see two parents trying to have kids and finally finding a kid, and they're so happy
that they just let him run.
And he's special, and he's got some kind of powers. And then I don't want him to go bad, and maybe that's the allure of the movie.
Elizabeth Banks?
I don't know. I can't.
If it is, I adore it. And if you haven't, there'll be a time when we get to the section of what we're each individually into because I actually started to keep track of what I've been watching.
Good.
And that's The Happy Time Murders. If you haven't seen it,
I did see it. Let's talk about that for a second. That got panned as one of the worst movies.
Did it?
Yes, of 2018.
Yeah, it came out this year, right?
What did you think? Happy Time Murders is what we're talking about. Melissa McCarthy.
I love Melissa McCarthy. I'll watch anything she does.
Oh right, who's in that? Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks. Yeah, she's in it.
Oh, she's still really good looking, isn't she?
She's gorgeous. Yeah,
and how old she
tiny.
Is. Yeah,
I've seen her. I saw her in line for a movie at what's that one? That famous one down on West Fourth.
Oh, what?
Movie theater, IFC. I saw her in line at the IFC.
Yes, she is in Brightburn. Yes, that is her.
And she's tiny, dude. She's maybe.
Oh, she's gonna be Bosley in the new Charlie's Angels.
Really?
Yeah.
I could get into that.
Yeah.
I'll be into that.
And what was who was it before? It was Bill Murray.
It was Bill Murray, and it was R.I.P. It was Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac. Yeah, Happy Time Murders, Ginny.
I loved it. I love Henson puppets. Anytime a puppet is doing something completely irreverent or like or human, right. I'm gonna enjoy it. I enjoyed it from top to bottom. I did. I thought it was hilarious.
I mostly enjoyed it. I like the fact that it was like a detective mystery noir kind of thing.
Right.
And it was funny. It entertained me for the night. I wasn't.
I watched it again for like the second time.
You watched it twice?
Yeah, I watched it again for like the second. Randomly enough,
I underestimate how many movies you watch.
And if I like it, I rewatch them hundreds of times.
Yeah,
I'm that kind of that's what I do. I watch movies.
Yeah,
I have since a while ago.
We'll talk about Avengers Endgame, which just came on Rob's computer here in just a second.
Right.
We're just trying to get through some other news. Pixar, they just announced the title of their new movie called Onward. And it features two elf brothers. It's kind of a suburban fantasy quest for magic type of thing.
Okay.
Includes Chris Pratt and Tom Holland are the brothers, the voices.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it so? Pixar is doing like live action, or is it like an animation?
No. It's animation. It's their next. It's the one after Toy Story 4. Yeah.
Is it like a direct continuation of the story of Toy Story 4? Or is it
No. It's an entirely separate movie from Toy Story 4.
I see.
So Toy Story 4 is going to come out. This is going to be their next movie after that.
Okay.
I did see a very brief trailer for Toy Story 4 back. It wasn't Creed 2. It was another movie that I saw recently. And it wasn't much. I think they had the guys from Key and Peele coming in and sort of making jokes, and it felt very much like they were trying to be, look, we're still hip. We're Toy Story, and it's still hip and current.
I feel like Toy Story is old now.
It's very old, yeah.
When was the first one made?
Oh man,
15 years ago?
I want to say like 96, but let's see, 1995 was the first one. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's old, man. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, who knows if that movie... I'm sure that movie will be great.
Pixar doesn't... Like, you can't name a Pixar animation that hasn't been brilliant.
Yeah.
They get that style. But this is what I was saying about, like, in last week about how animation has been telling stories, better ones, in my opinion, than most live-action movies for
and apparently,
decades.
Apparently that's the case with the new Into the Spider-Verse movie, too. It's supposed to be, like, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
Yeah, but I'm going to go on here in a minute and give it a negative review on Rotten Tomatoes, so it brings it down to 99.
Can't have Spider-Man having a big head about himself.
No way. Aquaman's also supposed to be good.
Okay.
Yeah. You're not excited?
I'm not excited because I've been saying this since like the original Justice League where Casey Kasem was narrating. It like Aquaman is just a corny a superhero. Like yes, more than half the planet is covered in water, but unless you're fighting in water, this dude is just relatively useless. He talks to fish, and he's what? Super?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like I don't
read
understand.
The Aquaman comic.
Like that's what I'm saying. Nobody does because it's such a. Like even now, like I've been reading a lot of DC. I'm reading like the Justice League, and then I'm reading like the individual books for each one of the characters of Justice League, except for Aquaman. I'm just like his problems are so corny. I'm like, you're the king of the ocean, all right? You're a king. What the hell are you doing dabbling around on land? Your kingdom is covers 2/3 of the planet, and you're so concerned with like what happens on top of it. Man, get out of my face.
Apparently, he's supposed to be super like strong and hard to like hurt.
He is like, super like durable, but like Superman can beat him to smithereens. Then what's the point?
Well, choo choo. Choo choo! You know what that is? That's me jumping onto the hype train of Aquaman. I was like, "Hey, I'm coming along, guys."
You're about that. Is it Aquaman or is it Jason Momoa that you're more of?
I don't mind Jason Momoa. I like him in Game of Thrones. I think he does a good Khal Drogo
for like the 2 seconds he's in that thing.
3 lines that he has in the entire movie. Or entire so I'm okay with it.
He wasn't even in half the season of Game of Thrones and people are like, Drago. I think he was in like the first 3 episodes and then he dies of like dysentery or something.
No, you know how he dies?
Poison? Like he gets an infection.
One of his buddies, his Khal Rider guys, like confronts him and insults him some way. And so he stands up to like, or maybe he's defending Dearnez or Khaleesi's honor or something, but he steps up to like confront this guy, and the guy puts out his little sword, and Khal Drogo, to show that he's tough, like steps into the sword and it cuts his like pec a little bit, like a little 2-inch wound.
And then he gets an infection and dies.
That's what I'm
saying.
Yeah.
Come on.
So he does it to himself, and then he dies. I'm actually currently reading the first Game of Thrones book.
Right.
Like futilely trying to catch up to Game of Thrones.
That's impossible.
Before it comes out in April.
You got 2 kids. It's never gonna happen.
It's like 900 pages.
It's never gonna happen.
I'm currently about
that's
600 pages into book 1, and I got 4 more books to go. The books are great. Anyways, yeah. So
that's what I hear. I hear the books are fantastic. I personally, the show for me was kind of like like it was meh, because like that kind of fantasy, at least the way that the show portrayed it was so archetypal and on rails. I was predicting it by that 3rd episode. Like I could literally look at each character and be like, here's your character development, here's how this is going to happen. And from what I understand, I was like 85% right about a lot of the predictions for him. So I will eventually go back and watch them all in one huge swath, but until like they're done making them, I don't really have time. There's just so much other things that are, in my opinion, better and done with animation, probably.
I totally disagree. I love them, and you're wrong. That's a wrong opinion.
Fair. You'd be wrong. That's bare bone. Like the fact that I could predict the next coming episode and what like the action in it, that tells you all you need to know right there. The only two characters I cared about in the entire canon of that show, that because I knew that their characters were going to have the most arc, the most journey to take, were Jon Snow and I guess that broad who's the mother of the dragons, Khaleesi.
Yes. Yeah, Khaleesi.
Those 2 characters, I was like,
are you fully caught up? Have you seen all the episodes?
I told you I only watched the first season. I've only seen the first season of that show, but it was enough for me to predict a lot of what happened later.
What do you think happens with those 2 specific characters?
I think there's at some point in the canon of the show, those 2 characters are gonna get together somehow, and they're gonna either change what it means for the world of Westeros or whatever. There's this other approaching army or whatever, the winter that everyone's so scared about. They're gonna bring, I guess, people together to then fight this winter, that other evil that's coming.
Okay, what I will say is all of that is completely wrong.
Word?
No, that's exactly what happens.
And this is me mic dropping and walking away. What I tell you? I haven't one season is all I've seen. One season.
We should have a thing where it's like Rob predicts.
Oh, I could do it.
Rob predicts.
And this is and because I think this is what. Remember how you were talking about how I watch movies? I've seen so many movies and so many movies of that type, like so many art. Like for me, it's really hard, and because I went to acting school, it's really hard for me to be surprised or really entertained by something unless it's something I haven't seen before.
What was the last thing you were surprised by? Can you think of it?
Yeah, if you give me a second, I can't come up with it right off the top of the head, but it's rare that a movie. I guess one of the more famous ones was the one that won the Oscar last year. Was it Moonlight?
Yes.
That one was.
No, it didn't win. Actually, the other one won.
What other one? Oh, right. La La Land.
La La Land was the one that won the Oscar, as everybody remembers and knows.
Oh God!
Oh God! What a bad mistake. We
All
won't
right.
talk anymore about that.
Just roll that one through.
Whoops.
Just roll that one through.
Whoops. And one last bit of news. Scott Dickerson is coming back for Doctor Strange 2. He was the director of Doctor Strange 1.
Cool.
He's coming back. Also, Benedict Wong is coming back. Rachel McAdams. But no word on Chiweedle.
Okafor.
Thank you. I was going to pronounce it, but
I just call him Chewie. I'm glad you got his first name.
Yeah. No word on
that.
Chewie, who plays Mordo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, wasn't there some allusion in the first? Wasn't some hint that?
Which is interesting if they're not going to bring him back with a second one.
No, I think they are. I think he maybe has a part in Avengers 4. Because isn't he almost kind of turned bad in Doctor Strange?
Mordo is a bad guy in the comics.
Right.
He, like, the way that...
I'm so happy you're here, because I don't know any of this stuff.
The way that...
You know this stuff, and I don't. That's great.
I mean, like...
So listen up, everybody. Rob's going to break it down.
Been a comic head since forever. Mordo in the comics is a bad guy. And the way that the movie kind of portrays it, him basically teaching Strange how to do that stuff or whatever. Or in the comics, Mordo teaches Doctor Strange that stuff. He is kind of like the tutor of Strange, and then because he gets passed over for the mantle of supreme wizard or whatever of this realm, he goes bad. Mm-hmm. The movie did it a little differently, but it's basically the same effect. He's a bad guy ostensibly, and he then in turn is in league with this demon Dormammu.
He was a bad guy in the first movie, correct?
Yes, he was the big bad in the first one.
I love that. I really like that time travel sequence at the end of Doctor Strange.
Oh well, that's the power of the time stone.
Time stone, yeah. That was very cool. So we got Doctor Strange is Phase 4 Marvel. We have Doctor Strange 2.
Cool.
We've got Black Widow.
They're giving her a standalone movie, huh?
Apparently, yeah. I don't know why. I'm really excited by that.
Really?
All of her stuff in the first
it's gonna be corny.
In the first Infinity War, the only Infinity War right now other than the new one coming out. I don't know why. I really like it. I'm really into her character for some reason. I can't
she was barely in that movie.
Yeah.
She was and
maybe that's why.
She was barely in that movie.
I think that's the secret to the Black Widow movie. Don't put her in it too much. There's an Eternals movie, I think, that's supposed to be slated for Phase 4.
Okay.
Black Panther 2.
Okay.
And Far From Home, the Spider-Man.
Interesting. I'm interested about that because I want what story is that taking, because at this point in the MCU,
Far From Home?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's
I don't
evaporated. Know. So this must be like a prequel. This must be like before he gets on the ship with Stark.
No, they're gonna really,
because he disappears at the end of Avengers.
You think that they're gonna leave him in Black Panther dead?
No, of course not. But like, is it happening after the Avengers movie?
Of course, yeah. For sure.
Okay.
All of those Phase 4 are happening after.
Okay.
The only one coming before is Captain Marvel.
Right. Right. Because that's the last thing you see from the Avengers.
Yeah, I do. I have a small Captain Marvel spoiler.
Really?
If you're interested.
All right.
If you don't want to hear a Captain Marvel spoiler, you should probably turn away. Let me just find it here. It's not. I mean, it's kind of like a silly spoiler. But remember, like in the trailer, you see Nick Fury and
as a young person with both eyes.
Right, both eyes.
So
and
it's
then
a throwback.
There's also a cat there.
A cat
named Chewie, to bring up Chewie twice now. Remember, he's like petting the cat, and she's like, "Don't touch the cat." And then it shows, and the cat's not actually named Chewie. They changed it to Goose. I guess Marvel didn't want to bring Star Wars and Marvel together, comic book. I don't know, whatever. So they changed the name to Goose. But apparently, the cat is a kind of demon of some sort. Not a demon. Jeez,
demon?
I'm awful at this. Give me 1 second. It's not a cat. It's a flurkin. It's a flurkin.
A what?
And it holds pocket dimensions all over its body. See, you're the comic guy, and you should know this.
This is not ringing any bells.
Anyways, yeah. So
flurkin. The name sounds familiar, but I don't understand. The creature does not.
Yes. So there's a toy that just came out. You know how toys can sometimes spoil things?
Uh-huh.
So there's a toy that just came out, and it's of Nick Fury, and then it has like a little side toy, and it's the cat, and the cat is in handcuffs, paw cuffs, if you will, and it has a muzzle over its mouth.
Oh.
Kind of like Loki from the Avengers.
Oh, okay.
So there's a theory that the Cap perhaps is a Skrull. Now remember
Okay.
this?
Yeah, Skrull invasion. That actually, I thought that when they did the Hulkbreaker movie, I thought they were going to tell that story, the Skrull invasion. I thought when they jumped off the Avengers after Ultron that they were going to start dealing with Skrulls because Guardians of the Galaxy already introduced us to the Kree. So I immediately thought, well, obviously we're going to do the Skrull invasion, and the Skrull invasion was by far one of the best Marvel storylines from the last decade. It was the storyline that it came out right along the time of the Civil War. So when in the comic books, when the Marvel Civil War was going on, there was another storyline that they were running right up alongside it called the Skrull or Secret Invasion, and basically the Skrulls had what's the word I'm looking for? They had
Infiltrated.
Thank you. They had infiltrated the Marvel universe and basically replaced a lot of higher superheroes. And when they finally figured out that these characters weren't who they say they were, that's what in turn sparked a lot of this, or the Civil War came about because the Skrulls were behind the scenes, sort of manipulating the superhero community into fighting itself, while they took over and replaced all these people. So like at one point, like Captain America was a Skrull, like all these people got replaced, and as it turned out, Jessica Drake, who was Spider-Woman, ended up being like the queen of the Skrulls. She was the one behind it all. She had replaced all the. So like at one point in the comics, there's a panel where Jessica Drake as a Skrull is in this warehouse, and you have like Captain America, Skrull. Oh my God! They replaced so many Marvel heroes, except for like Spider-Man didn't get replaced. There was a couple like mainstays that. Luke Cage didn't get replaced. Like some of these people found out early. Wolverine didn't get replaced, and because Wolverine could, Wolverine used to be able to detect them by smell, but this new Skrull, they figured out how to just mask themselves completely, like down to like the DNA. Like they could cut themselves and they would bleed like actual human blood. It was dope.
What happens to these superheroes when they've been replaced? Where do they go?
So what had happened was the Skrulls were taking them off planet to basically farm their DNA out, so that they could basically do this indefinitely.
Okay.
And then I think Captain America basically leads the charge of getting everyone back. So the ship comes back with all the superheroes, and it crashes into someplace or whatever, and then the Skrulls go out to investigate, and so at one point you have the actual people versus the Skrull people, and it's this crazy panel where like Captain America's faced off with Captain America, and such is faced off with like versions of themselves, and then a dinosaur rips through the panel because it crashes in
where Magneto is, right?
Yeah,
See, it's so weird that I have tiny little bit of comic book knowledge.
The Savage Land.
Savage Lands, yes. And I can pinpoint little tiny bits of things. Because I just remember seeing Magneto and then a T-Rex behind him.
I mean, it's
what's
gnarly.
Magneto going to do?
It's gnarly. So that's what I thought when they after Age of Ultron and when they introduced the Kree, I was like, oh, they have to tell the Skrull invasion because that was like literally their best storyline from the last decade. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's great. That's actually a really good segue into our Avengers first trailer discussion.
Right, which I had a few issues with. Just one.
Yeah, hold on one second. Because this is our Deep Theories, Hot Speculation. All right. So the internet blew up.
Yeah, people lost their minds about the
new
trailer.
Avengers. Yeah, it was weird because it came out, and I guess I caught it like an hour after it came out, and nobody was talking about it yet.
Interesting.
And I was like, why is nobody talking about this yet? And then everything erupted.
Yeah,
I think people just
woke up. They were like, yeah, what? Oh, no, Avengers, and then shit themselves.
So I guess there's lots of ways to you can go on, you can watch the trailer, but you can also go on YouTube, and there's these sort of multiple titans of the industry.
Multiple talking heads.
The biggest one, the one with the most hits, is Looper. Do you know that?
No.
Anyways,
I don't pay attention.
They had 8.3 million hits on their Avengers 4 trailer discussion.
Interesting.
And one of the things they talked about, and they bring up a lot of different things, and we're going to talk about some of these. There's obviously we see Thanos, we see his Scarecrow armor in the beginning.
That's from the comics.
Yep, that's from the comics. There is Tony Stark in the Benatar, kind of
Right.
floating around space. That's the first thing.
And this is the one issue I have with the trailer.
Yeah.
Now, you remember in the last Avengers movie, Stark his armor has evolved to nanotech.
Yes.
He has the ability to.
How do you feel about that? I know that's from the comics.
Yeah.
It's a weird, like...
It's dope.
It's good, but it also kind of reminds me of, like, Transformers 2, where they could change into anything. And then
Transformers 2. They could change anything?
Yeah,
No.
if you remember, watch the first Transformers, they can kind of like move around, and then you get to Transformers 2, and they transform almost into any shape too much. Everything moves around, and they kind
Are you
of...
talking about that one Transformer, the one that was like blade thin?
I don't know. You know what? Forget it. But
okay,
the only thing that
'cause-
bothers me about the nanotech is it does not feel like something you actually build anymore versus something you create, and then it morphs and sculpts around your body.
Well, this is why I had issues with it,
Okay.
because in that first shot, you see him talking to the helmet.
Yes.
He doesn't have, like, what we saw in Avengers 1 is Thanos basically beats that helmet off of his face.
Yes.
So how is it now that he has the actual helmet to then... Because it's all nanotech now. Like,
Right, but the way it works, remember in Avengers, Thanos grabs the helmet, rips it off, and then another one forms around.
Right.
So what I think is that he has this a certain amount of nanotech that sits on his body in that little triangle
Right.
in the center, and it can spread throughout. And as he uses pieces of it, and as they disappear, because if you watch Infinity
it
War,
happens a lot.
Yeah, his leg will be bare, but he'll have armor on his chest and head.
Uh-huh.
So he's losing bits of it, and I think the helmet is the last little bit of nanotech
okay.
that he's been able to power up.
Okay, that solidifies a lot of what... All right, it was a great trailer. That was the only issue I had with it.
Done.
Fine, that makes sense.
Speaking on that one part, though, if you notice, he's wearing a kind of like a black tank top.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not what he was wearing in Infinity War, but it is kind of a reference back to the first Iron Man. So I'm wondering if there's a way, like, how does he get off the Benatar? I think...
Well, how does he get off the planet, number one? Because how they got there, they destroyed the ship.
No. They didn't destroy the Benatar. They never showed getting destroyed.
Well, the ship that he's on,
that ship, yes.
whose ship is it? Where did he get it? Because the ship that they came to the planet blew up in the atmosphere. The ring that they were on
That
tumbled
was
through the atmosphere
whatever,
and got destroyed.
Elon Musk's ship. No, Elon...
So-
what's his name? What's that character's name?
Oh, I forget.
Whatever.
The one with
Yeah,
the
that one's
magic.
blown up. But remember, Guardians of the Galaxy come with the Benatar, and they land there. And then Nebula, she comes in her own ship and crash lands into Thanos, and that ship blows up. But they never show the Benatar being blown up.
I'm not... So you're saying the ship that he's on is the Guardians of the Galaxy ship?
Yes.
Different ship.
Why? What do you mean? Why?
It's a different ship. Go back and look at the Guardians of the Galaxy ship and the one that he's on. They're different configurations.
No, because the first Guardians of the Galaxy ship, the Milano, is destroyed. This is the second Guardian of the Galaxy ship, the Benatar. Anyways, I'm almost positive about this.
And
I don't know
think
anything
you're
about
wrong.
comics, but
I think you're wrong.
I will tell you what I've watched a lot of is trailer breakdowns. So essentially what we're doing here is we're breaking down the trailer breakdowns.
That's meta as fuck.
It is. It certainly is. And
if that's the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, where the hell are the rest of the Guardians?
Well, Rocket and Thor and Groot
Are on Earth.
Right, but Groot disappeared. So it's just Rocket's there with Thor, right?
Right.
Thor's got Stormbreaker, the hammer.
Right. Which technically...
He can kind of do a Bifrost thing.
Technically, that's not his hammer.
No, why?
Technically, the one that he builds in the Avengers is actually something built. It's a Thor-like character from the comics who gets that hammer gifted to him by Odin.
Is it the goat face guy?
Yes.
Okay. What is that character's name?
Something Bill.
I don't understand Thor, but every time I would
that
see
character's name, something Bill
Heck.
Bill.
No, it's not
I
Bill
love
Heck.
it. I love it. Pecos, not Pecos. Pecos Bill. It's not Buffalo Bill. It's something. It's Beta Ray Bill. That's it.
Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray
That's a
Bill.
great name.
And
Beta Ray Bill.
and it's a dope character. It's like his origin is gnarly. And
So traditionally, that Stormbreaker is
is
Beta Ray Bill's.
Bill's. It's the brother hammer to Thor's Mjolnir.
Got it. So,
Yeah.
and we do see Thor. He looks pretty sad in this trailer.
I think we only see him one time.
Yeah.
Like, and he's in sweatpants or something.
He looks
so forlorn.
That is easily my favorite part of Avengers, when he's like
I
describing all of the terrible, awful things that have happened, and you can see he's just trying to rally so hard, and he's like, but heroes will prevail, and it will happen because I will it too.
They finally got the character right.
You think so?
I feel like the writing of him, yes, is very much indicative of the Thor, ostensibly a man baby god.
Is Thor Ragnarok your favorite Marvel movie?
No, it's not.
Other than Blade 2.
Okay. Blade. No, I'd have to say that first Iron Man.
First Iron Man, yeah. First Iron Man's really good.
It jumps off the MCU universe. I think it'd been the first time we saw Robert Downey in a hot minute, and it was absolutely like made for him. I saw seeing him as Tony Stark reminded me of Tony Stark from the comic book panels back in the growing up. It was so indicative of Robert Downey Jr.'s journey as a person. It's rare that you get a role that you're made for or born for, and he was absolutely born to play Tony Stark.
It's rare that you get 2 shots or 3 shots or 4 shots at coming back and being a gigantic star.
If you're a white man in America, then you're pretty much, you have inevitable lives, infinite lives. It's Metal Gear. It's that first Metal Gear. You got the up down down.
Yeah.
You get the cheat code.
Wow, it's too bad I'm not a white guy.
You better start playing around. If you ain't gonna do nothing with the skin, then he use it.
Man, jeez. I would give it away. Give it away in a second. A lot of people talk about, so the first Iron Man, remember, he's in the cave and he builds his first Iron Man suit. And he's wearing a black
Arab Cap helps him. That dude, I forget his name, but that character actually existed in the comics, and it's an Arab character who helps Tony Stark build that first armor in the caves.
Okay, he's wearing a black tank top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when we open up this Avengers trailer, Tony Stark is wearing a black tank top.
Maybe he just likes black. It is slimming.
Well, where did he get it? He wasn't wearing it when he left Earth.
well,
maybe it's Peter Quill's. It's Peter Quill's tank top.
Could be, or remember he was wearing that blazer, not a blazer, but that jogging suit.
Okay,
he had a jogging suit.
But there's
he could have had, because he's in the park jogging with
Pepper
Potts, and then Doctor Strange shows up and is like, hey, some stuff, and then he gets on a spaceship. Okay. So he could have been. That could have been the tank top he was wearing underneath the running suit before he had to go off planet.
So Pepper Potts, in the Avengers in the trailer, he says there's no chance of rescue. Tell me a little bit, because I don't know much about it, about Pepper Potts and her character Rescue. Anything? Because there's been shots of Gwyneth Paltrow in the black and purple, sort of like feminine Iron Man suit.
Yeah, there.
Do you think that maybe she could come save him?
It's a possibility. I mean, she is the head of the Stark Corporation, and Tony does have she has control over his money and his facilities, and he does have the ability for deep space, retrieval. So she could, in theory, mount a rescue mission. Though,
how far away is he, though? I mean,
that's
Titan.
the thing.
Where's Titan? It's not the literal Titan moon of Saturn.
No. We don't know how far that is, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that Tony has been building armor or building interstellar. By the time, in the comic books, the Avengers go to space all the fucking time.
Right.
All the time.
Okay.
It's interesting. What's interesting is that the Guardians of the Galaxy are ostensibly the Avengers of space. Mm-hmm. So, honestly, I think that scene, the one, and this is what I was saying about the trailer. I think, and why I wasn't paying that much attention to it. It's the first trailer before April, and we basically they don't reveal anything. It's so little that they just give us these little shots and these key little things. I'll tune in more close to the second and third trailer. Maybe that second trailer will be more informed. This is just like a whetting of the appetite. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, because they don't give us too much.
So you're not like me, where
because I think that scene is early in the movie, maybe the first 20-30 minutes, and I think he gets rescued like that.
Right. He's like, there's no chance of rescue. And all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But you're not like me where you... I will watch these trailers and almost as much fun as I have. I do this with Star Wars too. I love breaking them down, and I love the deep theories, hot speculation of it all. Like, I love it.
And see, I think because...
Like, I love doing that.
I think because... and this goes back to what I was saying earlier about... Because I've seen so many movies, because I watch stuff all the time, I have to surprise myself. I have to keep away from as much of like spoiling it for me, because if I glean anything, I can extrapolate the rest of it in a few. You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I like to be as hands off as possible, because if I get just a little bit, I can already start predicting.
I apologize in advance, because we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff. It's going to totally ruin. It's like, you should not be doing this podcast. If that's the case.
Episode 3, not 25.
Episode 3, we're done. Bye bye. What else do you remember from the trailer?
I remember Scarlett's. She has this line reading that I absolutely love.
Scarlet Witch.
No.
Scarlett
Johansson. Black Widow. She has this line reading is where she's
B-Wids, as we call her.
The B-dubs.
B-dubs.
Is where where she's talking about what Thanos has achieved, and she has this line reading, and I absolutely love it, because I was like, yeah, that's real. That is someone who is coming to terms with the fact that half of all life in the known universe is now gone.
Eradicated.
So, yeah, she's like, Thanos did what he said he would, and half of our life. And I was like, yes!
And then off screen, Cap is just like, yeah,
and then
obviously.
And then
why are you recapping?
Then you see the single tear rolling out of Captain America. That's the next shot. Why is it single tear rolling out of Captain America's eye?
I feel like I want to believe that he is crying, because that is a later point in the movie, and he has witnessed that Tony Stark has sacrificed himself. The only reason I bring it up is that you have 3 choices.
That's what I'd like to happen.
You're going to have 3 choices here I'm going to give you, and you have to choose.
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark.
I already know what you're going to ask. It's Tony Stark. If I could see him going and it being a great sort of bookend.
Oh, it would be so good, right?
I could also see them copping out and being like, well, Steve Rogers is a man out of time. He was already thought to be dead. Why don't we just return him to the proverbial ice?
I would rather be Captain America.
Really? You would rather be Captain America that dies?
I actually know what I want is that most of the Avengers live, if not everybody comes back, but Captain America and Tony Stark, they die. That's what I would be.
You are.
Yes.
Wow, that is.
Because both Chris Evans' contract is up. We talked about this last week. He's supposed to potentially come back.
Pick up the helmet again. He'll play Captain America again. I absolutely.
You think so?
Yes. Absolutely.
I want him dead. I want him.
I mean,
dead.
I would
want
like
Tony Stark dead.
I would like one of the mainstays to just not be. And I think if it's going to be an Avengers, it has to be one of the founding members. So that's either Cap, Tony, and there it is.
Could it be the end of the movie when we see Tony Stark and he's talking to the helmet? Like somehow this is the end? Because they've been doing these things with trailers, especially Marvel, and they've been doing it well, not poorly, but they've been doing it well where they kind of give you a lot of misdirection, and they've been actually putting scenes into trailers that aren't actually in the movie. Or they've been using CGI, like if you watch Thor Ragnarok, if you watch the trailer, he's got both eyes. But then when you watch the movie, he's missing an eye in those scenes. Have you know what I'm talking about?
No.
This is so backwards. See, this is why we are the best podcast.
He doesn't lose his
because
eye
you know
until
all
the
the
end of that
comic
movie.
stuff, and I know all of the minutia of the movies that nobody cares about. So, long story short, if you go back and if this is years ago and you're watching the Thor Ragnarok trailer, you'd be like, yeah, there's Thor, and he's got lightning coming out of his eyes, and it looks cool and awesome. Then when you go to watch the movie, before that scene comes up, he loses an eye, and when you get to that scene in the movie, he now has the eye patch, the Odin-esque eye patch.
I don't think
they've been doing that a lot.
Right.
Well, think about it, and remember that scene in
that's right.
that shot in the trailer for Avengers Infinity War, the first one. They have all the Avengers running towards the camera in slow motion. Hulk's there, maybe in the Hulkbuster, and then when it's not actually in the movie. Do you know about this?
I know the scene that you're talking about where they're all running, and I think it is in the movie.
But they're not all there. If it is in the movie, they're not all there.
Yeah, it is in the movie, and I don't remember the trailers so much, but I do remember that scene where they're all running in slow motion towards the camera, and the Hulk Buster is running there, and I remember the scene, but I don't remember the trailer with them all being there. I think the trailer just had the people who were in that scene in it.
No, there's the Hulk there, but meanwhile the Hulk is off battling the other guy during that moment. Otherwise, the Hulk would have been there.
No,
Banner would have been there to fight Thanos.
No, because in the actual movie, Hulk and Banner are having their issue. He won't come out.
Yes.
So that's why they have he's in the Hulkbuster armor in the first place, because he can't Hulk up. That's why he doesn't face Thanos. Well, because he does face Thanos in the top of the movie, and Thanos
kicks his ass.
Beats his ass.
There's also a theory that at some point, a potential leak / spoiler, that somehow they get the gauntlet off of Thanos and they give it to Hulk.
No, that never happens.
Never happens?
That won't happen.
No,
okay. That won't happen.
What do you think about Hawkeye?
It would be more likely that if they did get it off Thanos, Captain America would be the guy to get it.
Okay,
that's more likely. Because in the Avengers movie, you notice that Captain America is the only person that can actually hold Thanos' arm.
Favorite part of the movie,
where
other than the Thor part.
He's the only person that can actually touch the gauntlet and hold it at bay. Now, if Thanos had only had one arm, I think Captain America would have won that fight. If Thanos didn't have that right body shot that knocked him into a tree over there, but.
I disagree. I think Thanos' look is perfect. He's like, wow, this dude is like, he's been eating Wheaties. Yeah, he's been eating his Wheaties. This dude is strong.
But that's what I mean. Like if Thanos was like a one arm,
perfect example. In the trailer,
right?
They showed that shot of Cap, right?
Right.
If you looked at the Infinity Stones on his hand, there were only 2.
See, I don't see you have this. Yes. You watch trailers like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember the trailers like that.
Yeah,
because like I said, I avoid them. I generally, I don't watch. I'll watch a trailer once just to sort of be like, all right, got it.
So you watched this one time, right? I've seen it probably 15 times, and only twice to really study. But then I did all the speculation that's on it. So, Hawkeye,
awesome.
Okay,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
The character that he's playing is Ronin, and it's a character he adopts after. I think in the comics something happens where Clint Barton is perceived dead, and someone else picks up the mantle of Hawkeye. I think it was a girl, and then when it's found out that he wasn't dead and he is actually alive, he comes back as this character Ronin, which is like a ninja assassin. He basically just starts murdering up people in this dope way. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad that he's in the movie. It makes sense, especially since that we don't see him for a while.
Why does he change to Ronin?
Well, this is just speculation, because this is the section that we're speculating.
Speculation
is that something dire has happened either in his life or to his family that has subsequently drove him to put down Hawkeye and pick up Ronin, because Hawkeye, like Ronin as a character, he's not a bow guy.
Yeah.
He's
get rid of the bow.
He's not a bow, like something that man has defeated heartily for 3,000 years, like bow and arrow, really, bro?
Come on, Robin Hood.
Stop it. But the character of Ronin is an up close and personal like ninja of the highest order, like super bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm stoked. I think it's a great addition, especially that we don't know what happened to Clint since the Wachovia. Since the last time we see him, he's in jail. Yeah. The last time we see him is a Civil War.
But then he cuts a deal, just like Ant-Man, so that he can go back with his family.
Right.
So he's under house arrest, presumably at the same time that Ant-Man and the Wasp, when Ant-Man.
Interesting. Yeah.
That's what's going on with us. I don't even want him to say anything in the movie. I want Scarlett to find him and be like, "Oh my God, your family," and he's like, "Yeah," and then he doesn't say anything else. Like, he's just silent the whole time, just kicking ass with a sword and in a new haircut.
That's awesome.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, so there's all this speculation about Ant-Man at the end of the trailer.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
because if you watch at the end of Ant-Man and Wasp, they're about to do that they're about to. I don't know if you saw the like, you know how Marvel has the after scenes.
I'm way ahead of you. I'm just letting you catch up right now, just so you know.
Well,
way ahead.
Well, then, yeah. The last time we see Ant-Man, he's basically trapped in the microverse.
Quantum realm.
Quantum realm.
Like I'm the guy who knows the details.
Actually,
it's the quantum realm, you guys.
So, yeah, the literal last time we see him, his then girlfriend, his almost dad-in-law, and his almost mom-in-law have disappeared. We can project that they disappeared because
Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer,
and
Janet. Janet's Michelle Pfeiffer's character. What's the last names? I can't think of it.
I don't remember.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. You know who we're talking about, guys.
But yeah, they disappear like half of the population has.
Right.
And leaves Scott.
He gets into the van in the quantum
tunnel.
Yes.
He gets stuck in the quantum tunnel. So the last time we see Ant-Man, he's trapped the way that Michelle Pfeiffer's character was trapped in the quantum realm.
Right.
Except I'm stoked about his appearance in Avengers because I can't wait to see how he gets out.
Yeah.
Like, that was a nice nice little hook that Marvel threw at the end of that movie.
You can't wait to see how he gets out?
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested to see how Tony Stark gets out of being trapped in a spaceship. But how Ant-Man gets out of the quantum realm.
Yeah, that's more intriguing to me.
So
it's harder to get out of in my opinion, it's harder to get out of the quantum realm than it would be to track back down to Earth from space.
Sure.
In a spaceship.
But if you are Ant-Man, and you were in the first Ant-Man movie, because of course you are. And you go to the quantum realm the first time, right?
Right.
And you're there.
Right.
And then you have this little thing that you pull out of your pocket that makes things bigger or however it
right.
However
he has
it works.
Two of them. He has bigger and smaller.
Bigger and smaller, right? Mm-hmm. And then you hit it and you escape from the quantum realm.
Right.
The next time you go to the quantum realm, don't you think that you would bring about a dozen of those all around your body just in case something happens to the people on the other end and they can't pull you back? Am I missing something there?
No, I think you're missing a key portion of that movie because the disc that he uses was to power the suit.
Yes.
But the suit that he steals had an issue with it. Remember in the new one he has a new suit.
Okay, but fine. Then guess what, guys? I'm sorry. I can't go back to the quantum realm again until you fix my suit. Like, come on.
It's
otherwise okay.
Well, see, my question is like, why do they need to build a quantum tunnel to the realm if the suit can already make it to the quantum realm?
Good point.
Right?
I don't know.
They spent like the whole second movie was about finding the mom this is why I feel like Ant-Man 2 wasn't as successful. I liked it.
I did too.
But it wasn't, the science in it wasn't quite right for me.
It's a B tier Marvel movie. I agree with you.
Because Ant-Man is kind of a B tier character. Anyway.
Jeez.
Right.
He's actually one of the original Avengers as far as...
Well, not this Ant-Man.
No?
Hank Pym.
Oh, Hank Pym. There you go. Pym.
Hank Pym, like the actual... The Michael Douglas character was, in the comics, was an OG. And this is the other thing. In the comics, Michael Douglas's character, Ant-Man, Hank Pym, is the one who creates Ultron.
Oh.
And this is a real departure. Like, that was one of the real departures from canon that Marvel took. And I was like, that's an interesting choice. Because Hank Pym, technically, next to Tony Stark, is probably one of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe. Right. Like, in the comic books, anyway. He creates Ultron. He also creates... he's also been, like, several different characters. He was Ant-Man. He was Yellow Jacket. And he was Giant Man at one point. Like... Okay. Hank Pym is so smart. He outsmarts himself so often. And in the comic books most recently, he merges with Ultron and now is like this weird kind of hybrid of the two people. Or the two things. He's like Hank Pym, but he's also half Ultron. It's weird.
So I believe there's an explanation that we just have not been paying attention because we've only probably seen all of these movies 2 or 3 times, and most of the time have been drunk or stoned or
combination of both.
Yeah,
for me, definitely a combination.
Or a combination of both. And we missed out on some details, so we can go back and rewatch that. But before he goes into that quantum realm, Janet Pym or Michelle Pfeiffer, she says, "Now just be careful, don't get stuck or sucked into a time vortex."
Wait, who says this?
This is Michelle Pfeiffer.
In the first or second movie?
In Ant-Man and the Wasp, right at the end. She says, don't get stuck into a time vortex. We won't be able to save you.
Interesting.
Right.
Interesting.
And when you see Captain America, or when you see Ant-Man show up at the very end of the trailer, Captain America says, is this old footage?
Interesting.
And if you look up into the left of the screen, it says archive. Now, it can't be too old, okay, because it wouldn't be that clear of quality. So one of the craziest theories that I recently found online was that he gets sucked into one of these time vortexes, right? Because everyone else disappears at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And he's stuck there. He's like, guys, where is everyone?
Right.
So he gets sucked into a time vortex. Somehow he gets out. But he gets out 6 months in the past. And he realizes, oh my God, I'm 6 months in the past. He's not an idiot. He's Paul Rudd. He's not the smartest guy, but he's not an idiot. So he decides, I'm going to go back and I'm going to find Captain America and I'm going to tell them I'm in the past. I can't go see myself because I've seen Back to the Future and I know that when you go and you see yourself, that's not a good thing. So he goes way back into the past, or goes way across the country to go find Captain America, and that's that shot. And he's got the van because somehow he steals the van. Well, the van's no longer there because it's the past. He's still in the parking lot.
Interesting. Right,
so he goes and tries to get Captain America. They find him, but they're like, dude, you're like crazy. Get out of here, right? So then he goes back and he just kind of like chills and waits for 6 months until time catches up. And then I think he finds Captain America again and kind of helps them. But do you think
that would require them to write like a scene where he goes to them originally and then has to wait 6 months?
Yes.
I don't think they would write a scene like that.
You just wait.
I mean, you're the writer, so you tell me. But I feel like if you were doing a movie, it seems a little convoluted to write a scene where a character shows up and is like, "Hey, I'm from the future. You're not gonna believe me, so I'm gonna then wait 6 months and then show back up again."
We should wrap up the Avengers thing, but my ultimate theory about the Avengers is going to involve time travel. And that what they're going to do...
I think you're right. I think to a certain extent you're right, especially based on what Doctor Strange said in the first Avengers.
The sidebar to the Doctor Strange thing, if he exited his body before he disappeared, he could be in, not the quantum realm.
So is that a theory also that people are thinking, that before he...
disintegrates. He exits his body like he does in the first
Astral projects.
Astral projects, and he's in the astral plane. And he could also merge the astral plane with the quantum realm. And he could help Ant-Man discover time travel. And then they could go back in time and they could stop Thanos and destroy the Infinity Stones one by one.
Okay, well, that's an interesting theory. Although, with astral projection, you can't astral project without a body.
Fuck.
That's one of like the solids, like without a body to anchor you, you're basically, your spirit is lost to the cosmos. You disappear after certain, like without the body, the spirit can't thus then, that. So I hate to shit all over your theory right there, but yeah, I don't think that's a thing. But
what do you think is going to happen in the new Avengers?
We'll
do this again. We're going to do this like every episode.
Great, I think we should
get closer to the movie.
And I'm going to plead the fifth on this one because, like I said, I think what Marvel has done with at least with this initial trailer, was very smart. What it is, it's sort of a whet your appetite kind of trailer. They don't give you a lot of information, so cats like us can sit here and speculate till the cows come home. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refrain from speculating until I get enough, a bit more information, as most true detectives, glasses, as most true detectives will do. So I'm gonna wait till I get a little bit more evidence, and then I will come up with a theory that is sound, true, and probably right.
Oh, that's cheating.
That is.
I'll let it
Real
pass.
talk.
I'll let it pass.
Real talk.
Real talk. Deep theories, hot speculation. So what I've determined is that when we re-review movies, it is per Demolition Man, as Wesley Snipes says, a blast from the past. A blast from the past. And this week's blast from the past, Blade 2.
There's a world beyond the one we know, where the powers of darkness fear nothing but one man. Stop! Blade.
So this makes the second Wesley Snipes film in 3 episodes.
It does.
Some might say we have a penchant for our man Snipes.
Well,
For a tax evader.
What happened this week was last week we said anyone wants to go into the comments and suggest a movie for this week.
We did.
And we actually got so many suggestions that we didn't get any suggestions.
See, and so we got kind of tied up in the beginning of the week or like what we wanted to review this week. And I think our mistake in this was we felt like we had enough people listening to the Sleep comment so that we could sustain this going forward. But I think we're gonna just at least for the start of it, I think we gotta just pick our own movies because we don't have a following, we don't have anybody listening yet to be like, hey, we wanted you guys to review this. So I think for going forward, we just gotta pick our own shit.
Yeah, I think so. Or if somebody does suggest something, we can do that too. But it has to be early. The problem is we record on Thursday and then we post this online on Sunday. So by the time anybody actually listens to it, because it's a 2-hour podcast,
right.
We get it, and gets to the end of it, and it's like, oh, I want them to do this movie. It's now like Thursday, and we're already recording again. I ended up actually watching Blade and Blade 2.
That's awesome.
On Monday and Tuesday, just for fun.
You had a good night.
Yeah. So I wanted, and Laurel watched them with me too, and I wanted to.
Had Laurel seen them before?
No, I had never.
Either of them.
I thought I'd seen Blade 2, but
you hadn't seen Blade 2?
No.
Wow.
I'd definitely seen Blade 1, but it had been so long that I didn't remember much of any of it, so it might as well have been a new movie.
Interesting. That's great.
I was genuinely surprised
by what?
How good Blade 1 is.
Well, see, this is what kicks me in the face every time, because Deadpool got so much acclaim for being rated R and blah blah blah. And I was sitting there like, wait, did y'all forget that y'all did a rated R movie with Blade back in that was awesome? Mm-hmm. That was my thing. I was like, so what? Like, we just, because he wasn't a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy, we just forget that Blade made Marvel a shit ton of money with its inception? Like, it kind of hit me in the feels, because I was like, Marvel what? No, like, yes, Iron Man jumped off the MCU, but Blade was out well before Iron Man was even an apple in Marvel's eye. And it gets no love. Gets no love.
I'm going to read you the storyline, the synopsis, very, 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 very brief recap synopsis of Blade 2.
Oh, okay.
So that our audience who have not seen it, and I definitely recommend Blade 2.
In my opinion, it's the better of the 2 films.
Directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Films. They made 3, but it's the better of the... It's rare that a sequel is better than the original. I feel like this is one of those that achieves it.
Yeah, I think this movie is better than the original. I agree. A rare mutation has occurred within the vampire community. The Reaper, a vampire so consumed with an insatiable bloodlust that they that they prey on vampires as well as humans, transforming victims who are unlucky enough to survive into Reapers themselves. Now their quickly expanding population threatens the existence of vampires, and soon there won't be enough humans in the world to satisfy their bloodlust. Blade, Whistler, yes, he's back, and an armory expert named Scud, who is played by Norman Reedus.
I was going to get into this.
Yeah. We'll get into it.
Go ahead.
Are curiously summoned by the Shadow Council. The council reluctantly admits that they are in a dire situation and they require Blade's assistance. Blade then tenuously enters into an alliance with the Blood Pack, an elite team of vampires trained in all modes of combat to defeat the Reaper threat. Blade's team and the Blood Pack are the only line of defense which can prevent the Reaper population from wiping out the vampire and human population.
Is that the synopsis?
Blade 2. Yeah.
That's a shitty synopsis.
Yeah, I know it is.
That synopsis sucks.
Well, it's not really. It's more of like it's a spoil-free synopsis. I can give you a whole plot synopsis, but
I mean, well, they kind of.
That's from IMDb, by the way. I didn't write that. I'm not going to spend that much energy on this.
You didn't write that. That is because you're not a shitty writer.
I would write something.
That's shitty writing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, anyways, directed by Guillermo del Toro. This is like his. Awesome. This is following on Kronos. Did you ever see Kronos? 1993.
No, but is it? It's not the story of Kronos, like the Greek legend of Kronos.
I honestly don't know because I've never seen it either.
Okay.
They used to have it on Netflix, but there was this weird glitch where the sound was off by about a half a second. So I started watching it with my wife, Laurel, and she's seen it, and she loves it, and says it's great. It's basically a vampire movie about a guy who finds some sort of device that immediately, when you open it, it stabs you and somehow infects you or gives you some kind of blood thing. It grants you eternal life, but makes you you
crave
have to
blood.
Yeah, you crave blood, exactly. So that's Kronos in '93. He also did Mimic before this.
Mimic was this is talking about Guillermo right now.
Yes, Guillermo. And
I
so
didn't see Kronos. Mimic was dope. They made a few of them, which were less dope, but Mimic was a good movie.
yeah, and what's interesting about Blade 2 is one of the only movies that he's directed, Guillermo del Toro, and not written.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he do the first one too?
Blade? No, he did not. That was another guy who didn't do this one because he wanted to move on to better things.
Yeah,
I'd have to
They
look.
were both really good. It was interesting because they were both different enough that I wasn't sure if he had done the first one, but they definitely had a similar artistic eye. I feel like for darkness.
Stephen Norrington did the first Blade. Was a different guy. Apparently, with the first Blade, it was one of these cases where it was a very long movie. They gave it to a test audience. The test audience did not like it. They went back. They edited
This is the first one.
the first one in a different way, and then people really liked it.
Really?
Yeah. This movie with Blade 2 was another thing where they filmed a ton of stuff, and actually it came out much darker, and they had to change some of the Reaper blood to green blood because they were pushing the limits of an R rating with Blade 2.
Wait, so in the Reapers have green blood in this movie?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. They also have that crazy thing where their mouth splits, splits down the middle, the mandibles.
Sick.
Yeah.
It's sick where they don't have a jawbone. Like it's the jawbone gets replaced and it's basically like a viper's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
It's really gross. Very
the design
cool.
Is dope. Like
yes. Well, the guy who did Mike Mignola.
yeah. Wait, Mike Mignola designed this?
He did concept for it.
Well, Mike Mignola, that's Hellboy.
Yeah, I know. That's
Yeah.
awesome, right?
That's why this movie was so successful.
Yeah.
They had a lot of good heads on.
Yeah, and that's like a pre-Guillermo del Toro connection. So you can see why when he gets to wanting to do Hellboy, I think 2 movies later.
And that's why old boy in Blade 2...
Ron Perlman?
No, Perlman's in that too.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Those guys work together twice.
Yes,
the guy who plays Novak and Perlman are in Blade 2, and then they reunite again for the Golden Army, Hellboy 2.
Luke Goss. Is
Luke
the name
Goss,
you're
right?
of.
Who kills it?
Yeah, who kills it? He's great, right? So it's also written by David Goyer, who did Death Warrant, Dark City in '98.
Dark City was dope.
Yeah, Dark City's good, right? The original Blade, Batman Begins in 2005.
Wait. He
wrote it. David S. Goyer.
Not our boy.
Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan helped story. And Christopher Nolan wrote The Dark Knight, but he did not write Batman Begins.
No shit.
Yes. He also wrote Jumper.
Also a good picture.
I like that movie.
Also a good picture.
God, I'm so happy. This is why.
I fucks with you, dog. Come on, baby. Yeah. With Bruce and our boy Joseph Gordon.
No, you're thinking.
Oh no! I'm thinking of Looper. I'm thinking of Looper. No, Jumper was a good one too. Samuel L. was in that one.
You're throwing me scraps.
No. The only part of Jumper that I didn't like was Rachel Bilson. I feel like she's awful.
It's not a perfect movie.
No, everything
Good
about it was
concept.
dope. The concept was dope. I just don't like Rachel Bilson.
Yeah.
I think she's. If you're listening, Rachel, none personal. You're just terrible.
He also wrote. David Goyer wrote Man of Steel.
Ugh, hated it.
Batman v Superman. I don't know. Why did they take the S off of Batman vs Superman?
I don't know.
So stupid.
It's so dumb.
And he's got the upcoming The Sandman and Masters of the Universe.
Whoa. Wait, which Sandman?
Yeah.
That one?
Neil Gaiman Sandman, yeah.
He's doing Sandman?
Yes.
Ooh.
I mean, if you get this kind of pedigree, they'll be like, yeah, sure, you take it.
Well, I mean, if if Gaiman's giving him the go-ahead, then... Because he don't do bullshit.
Now,
I mean, American Gods, that's Gaiman.
Yes.
And I don't know if you've seen it. It's brilliant.
My wife loves it.
What
happens in our family is that if I work nights and she watches something, presumably when I'm not here, it happens to be American Gods. And then when I come home, I'm like, it's like the 6th episode. And I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
But you didn't read the book, did you?
No, she read all this Neil Gaiman stuff. Yeah.
One thing I will say about the show, I think it's only like 10 episodes a season, maybe 12. But for the wealth of what the book is, they do a real good job of distilling it down to this singular 10 or 12 episodes. You know, it's good. But we're straying off topic.
What can you tell me, because the comic is written by Marv Wolfman, who did Tomb of Dracula.
Yeah, which is a classic comic horror. Like, that's the introduction of Blade. That's how we get Blade. Tomb of Dracula was this it's like classic comic book horror trope. And they introduced the character Blade in it, him and I forget the other guy who helped write that. But yeah, so that's how we get the character of Blade. I think one of these guys actually originated Daredevil too.
Yeah, so he did Bullseye. He did Bullseye from Daredevil. He didn't create Daredevil, but he created Bullseye.
Interesting.
And also the New Teen Titans.
The comic?
Yeah.
No.
Apparently,
kidding.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
I mean,
this is just Wikipedia. You can look it up.
I mean,
we're just doing it for you and you're listening, so you don't have to look it up. But yeah, that's what Wikipedia says. Gene Colan is the penciler. And what is the penciler in comics?
He's the dude who does the lines.
Does the lines. So he creates the art.
Kind of.
Okay. I don't know this stuff. The soundtrack
there's a penciler, there's an inker, and there's a colorist. So one guy draws it, one guy then goes back over that drawing with pen, and then another guy comes in and does color.
So the penciler is like the main artist. And then the inker comes in and is like, okay, I see what you're doing here. I'm going to help make this happen and fix it up. And the color is just like, I'm the color guy. I'm going to add some color.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Ostensibly. Maybe not with that voice. I mean, because
no, they all have that voice.
Really?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, then I should have never do comics.
Marco Beltrami, he did the soundtrack. He also did Hellboy, Hurt Locker, The Wolverine, and Logan.
See, it pays to work with cats because they hire you again.
I think when you do like one superhero movie, they're like, yeah, sure, you can do another one. You can do another one, and they just let you keep going. So the first Blade made, it was a $45 million budget, and worldwide it made $131 million.
I'd say that's a success.
That's a big success, yeah. The second Blade, the one that we're talking about here, they upped the budget by $9 million to $54 million total, and then it made $155 million worldwide.
Also, that's a success.
And then the third movie,
which
is the stepchild of the series,
they
upped it even more to $65 million. And it only made $128 million. So it still was not the third Blade Trinity, which gets shit on constantly.
It does.
And I've never seen.
It does.
It was not a financial flop necessarily.
Let's just say that I think they knew after that first one they were going to make 2 more films, and let's just say that third movie it is a bookend to a trilogy. But it's not satisfying in the least.
Let's talk about it after we do Blade 2, because I have a few. One, I haven't seen it, but I do have some ideas about why it went so wrong.
Okay. Parker Posey was in it.
Yeah. What is your favorite part about Blade 2?
Favorite part?
Not necessarily scene. I'll give you mine while you think. I love.
Give me yours. What was yours?
Yeah, I love the Blood Pack. So the Blood Pack, for those of you who have not seen the movie, when Blade is approached by the vampires that he's been trying to kill for the last couple decades, they approach him and say, we have this problem of the Reapers, and if you don't stop them, it's going to spread.
We represent the ruling body of the vampire nation. They're offering you a truce. They want to meet with you.
You sure about this?
They'll take us in deeper than we've ever been.
Now, those he has sworn to kill need his help to fight a new breed of terror.
They're no longer top of the food chain.
Our forces are ready to fight, but we need a leader.
Let me get this right. You want me to hunt them? For you?
Ooh, so exciting.
They give him a group of individuals, as they do in movies, and say, hey, you can work with this group to help defeat the Reapers, right? And the Blood Pack is comprised, the leader of the Blood Pack is Ron Perlman's character, Reinhardt. Now, I was watching
Awesome.
it, and there's a line in the movie that I think is completely unnecessary, and I didn't even get, and I had to have my wife explain it to me. And Ron Perlman, the first thing, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
So the first thing that Ron Perlman says to Blade is, we all want to know, can you blush? And I was like, I had to pause the movie. I was like, what the frick? What does that even mean? Can you blush? What does that mean?
And how did Laurel explain it?
So she broke it down. She says, well, it's actually, it's two different things. One, it's totally racist. Hella racist. And two, it's also because he's kind of a vampire, and potentially vampires can't blush.
Right.
So not only is he black and presumably can't blush, but he's a vampire and can't blush. This is back in 2002,
right,
when they would just randomly throw racist shit in there like that, and you're just like, yeah.
Well,
but you also
describe set the scene.
Okay, yeah. So he shows up to meet the Blood Pack for the first time,
and you're omitting one fact, and the same thing that the synopsis omitted is that this Blood Pack is a group of vampires who have been trained to hunt Blade.
Yes.
They have been trained their whole lives, or presumably for a long time.
2 years. It's only 2 years.
To hunt down and kill Blade, who they now have to then ally with to combat this Reaper threat to vampires. So in their first meeting, he comes down to meet them, and he says it twice. Because he says it under his breath the first time. He says, so, hey, yeah, we with the gang and we were kind of wondering.
Yeah.
And Blade goes,
what?
Excuse me? Can you say that again? And then he steps to him and he's like, can you blush? Like, straight up. Like, it's... Well, okay. Speak on it. You said this is your favorite moment in the
No.
Oh, it's not?
Not the racist statement.
Well, I mean...
Not the racist question.
I was going to say, this was
My
odd.
favorite part of the movie is the fact that there's a crew. Not this moment when he meets them, but that there's a crew that we slowly get to watch die, usually pointless deaths. Donnie Yen
I
is
was just going there. I was just going there.
Were you going to link it to Rogue One?
Well, no. I would. I think that's
so
why
Rogue
you're
One,
here.
Donnie Yen is in this movie. He plays the Snowman.
If you don't know who Donnie Yen is, and this is what I'll say, I feel like he was underserved in this movie. Complete.
Well,
they don't give him any lines,
he had two jobs.
Sword action scene. That was it. He had a sword action scene. What were the two jobs?
The two jobs is he has to play the character of Snowman. He also did all of the fight choreography.
Did he? Now?
Yes.
That's why that was such a dope movie.
Yeah. And there's a lot.
If you don't know who Donnie Yen is, you should IMDb him. That is Ip Man. That is and Donnie, like,
I love how you pronounce it too. I just say Ip Man.
No, because the man actually existed. His name was Imp Man.
Yeah.
That was his name. And
two of those, right?
No, they made three of them.
Three of those.
He made three, and then they made a couple other ones without him. But Donnie Yen is, I mean, he had, in the same way that Jackie Chan was sort of like the man for this for a while, and Donnie Yen is of the same sort of ilk as far as like he worked a long time in Hong Kong movies. Did, like, his canon is deep. He's done a lot of movies. I think I want to say he was in Shanghai Nights. I feel like he was in one of those sequels to the...
I haven't seen those in like 15 years.
I feel like he was in one of those sequels. But I think this was his breakout role in America or whatever. And they didn't give him any lines. He had no lines in the whole picture.
But he's good.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
He's fucking dope.
He's really good.
And if you haven't seen those Ant-Man movies, go and see them.
Yeah.
They made three of them. The first one is...
How does he die in this?
Oh, in this one?
Yeah, in Blade 2.
In the you don't even see it. He dies off screen. Like one of the Blood Pack gets infected with the Reaper virus, but keeps it under wraps.
Lighthammer.
And then when they go to destroy the Reaper nest, they pair off into squads. And the Lighthammer, who's been infected, basically eats Donnie when no one's looking.
Yeah.
Like, they go off into a tunnel, and then it's a shot of Donnie walking into the camera frame, and then you see Lighthammer in the background, and then you hear his weapon draw out, and then that's it. And the next time you see him, he's in a tunnel, lurched over Donnie, and then you see his mandible close up.
From the perspective of Lighthammer's girlfriend Verlaine, who also does very little in this movie.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So remember Tracy Lords in the first movie?
Yes.
So they were going to make Verlaine's character a twin of Tracy Lord's
That
character.
would have been dope. And
right?
have Tracy play it again.
Exactly.
But
I don't know why they didn't do
That'd
that,
have
but
been
that
smart.
was the trivia behind that casting decision. But if you watch like when they're in the House of Pain, which is a club, Blade loves its club scenes.
Well, okay.
And
all right, well, yeah,
and
it
she,
does.
and
Well,
she does nothing in that.
This is early 2000s. This is like the height of rave.
2002.
This early aughts, and this is the height of like rave culture and
Coming on freaks. Coming on freaks now.
and Molly culture and like so, and in that first movie, like or what's the term for the music? Was it EMD or electronic dance music, EDM? So like it's like the birth of EDM as sort of a counter culture to the norm. In the first movie, like the opening scene is in a meat packing.
Yeah.
Like a slaughterhouse. It's in a slaughterhouse,
yeah.
and this club is in the slaughterhouse. And one of the dopest scenes in that movie is the very beginning. He's in this club, and then the sprinklers turn on, and blood is starting to rain as EDM music reaches its zenith. It's fucking incredible.
When I watched that scene,
Paul Oakenfold's "Sandstorm" is I know that movie. I know that song from the opening of that movie because I was I was one of those club kids. It was a time. It was a thing.
I watched that scene on Monday and was like, that's awesome. It looks great. And then I was like, what if you're just like a normal vampire? You're just like kind of like every day.
Out for a night.
And you're out for a night. You're like, I'll go to the club.
Damn it, Skip!
Now I'm covered in blood.
I wore all white, asshole!
How did you ruin this? I'm never gonna wear this. I'm not gonna get these stains out.
Do you know how hard it is to get blood out of... What is this? Is this silk?
So is that a better scene than the House of Pain scene in Blade 2?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, because that House of Pain... that scene in that first movie was so... I remember seeing it in the theater. I was in the theater when I saw this movie. And like I said, it was at a time when EDM was at its jump off point, and I was really into a lot of that stuff for a time. So I was in the theater, like geeking out on the fact, like ging, and the blood started coming out of the sprinklers. I mean, it was gnarly. That second one was a little bit more tame, but I like that. Like as you're walking through the House of Pain, you're seeing like the vampire culture. Like there's that one shot of that chick. She has her whole back sort of opened up to the bone.
I'm glad you brought that up. What are they doing there?
I mean, masochistic shit, vampire shit.
I guess because they healed themselves,
right?
Oh, so they're getting cut on purpose because
it's all fetish shit stuff. Like the House of Pain, and then you see like people being fed on openly, and like vampires slipping razor blades into each other's mouths and making out. It was kind of gnarly in that it was showing how counterculture-y these people were in this way.
You know what Laurel said? She's like, "Wow, this is so Eurotrash."
Very much.
And
see, I've never been to Europe, but like I was like, this feels like something you would get into in like an Eyes Wide Shut Europe club or some shit.
They filmed the entire movie in Prague.
That makes sense.
In the Czech Republic.
That makes sense.
So it definitely has like a kind of Eurotrash feel to it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was going to bring this up later, but I'll bring it now because it fits perfectly. It's talking about kind of pseudo Eurotrash. The first Blade is in '98, right?
Right.
The Matrix came out in '99.
Yep.
Right? So Blade, with all these like big leather trench coats, actually preceded The Matrix.
Yep.
Now this movie's...
You're welcome.
Blade 2 is 2002, so it's definitely... But it doesn't feel like they're... Because a lot of movies that came out around this time, action movies, it's like they watched The Matrix and like,
oh, that works. Yeah, we got to take that. Bullet time? Oh, yeah, we definitely got to show the bullet moving in slow motion and maybe spin the camera around it a few times. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Check.
But not Blade 2.
Nope.
Blade 2 feels like its own thing. It feels like an homage to Blade 1. And Guillermo del Toro apparently really studied Blade 1 to try to get it as accurate as possible.
I think he achieved it in a lot of ways. Even to one of the corniest moments in the movie, which I still have issues with. It makes it.
What is it?
It was the one moment that took me out of it, and it was after Whistler helps him. It's towards the end of the film. After Whistler helps him into like the enriched bloodbath or whatever, and he comes out and he takes Ron Perlman's character out. And then Whistler picks up his sunglasses. He's like, "Kid," and he throws him the sunglasses, and his hand comes up that whole it always, because I saw it in the theater and it just looked so fucking fake. I was like, oh, come on. But it was an ode to the scene. It was an ode to in the first movie where he takes old boy's head and catches his sunglasses out of the air before putting them out.
I don't remember that part.
You remember in the first movie where he's facing off with Stephen Dorff's character, but his buddy, the guy whose hand he's chopped off constantly in the movie, and he's like, I got 2 brand new hands, and I don't know which one to use to cut you up with first. And he's wearing Blade's sunglasses, and he runs at him, and Blade pulls out like a filament wire and takes his head off. And as his head is disintegrating in the midair, he grabs his sunglasses and puts them back on. It's one of the dopest scenes in the first movie, and they try to sort of recreate that in this moment.
No,
and it just didn't work because he's up on the elevated platform like 20 yards away, and he basically picks these sunglasses up and frisbees them. I guess I don't know how, but he basically, you just see his hand come up and they go funk right into his hand, and it's perfect. Weird,
which is less skill on his part and much more skill on Whistler's part,
right?
For being able to throw it accurately right into his hand.
Because he does the velocity at which it comes to his hand. Because he does like a frisbee, like a softball frisbee throw, and it ends up with such velocity that it hits his hand, and it just always took me every time. I've seen this movie maybe 56,000 times. And every time I'm always like, oh, that's bad.
I can't believe that's your favorite moment.
It's not my favorite moment. It's the one moment in the movie that takes me out. My favorite moment in the movie is when he's fighting Novak, or is it Novak? Nomak at the end.
Who turns out to be
the prince of this particular vampire lord.
What was that? Damaskinos. There you go. I just had to get the character names. I wrote it down. I need to use them.
So basically, long story short, this vampire lord creates this Reaper virus because he wants his legacy to be like this new race of vampire that has all these none of the weaknesses of the previous generation of vampires, like they're impervious to silver. They're impervious to all the Blade's weaponry that he uses in the first one to decimate vampires on the norm don't work on these new type vampires. The only thing that works is UV, basically sunlight. So at this point in the movie, like it's been revealed that this Overlord Damaskinos has orchestrated this virus and used his own son, the prince, I guess, ostensibly. He used his son as a guinea pig to test this the Reaper virus. And as it turns out, because he is patient 0, he has this weird affinity with the virus. It works well with him.
It's an interesting plot.
It's a great plot. Like that's why it's a good picture for so long. They leave that reveal so well guarded. You don't get that until a point in the movie. Like I don't want to spoil it too much.
No, spoil it all because it's a movie that came out in 2002.
It's 2/3.
Why else would you be listening? You're not listening to be like, what movie should I watch tonight? You're listening because you enjoy Blade 2 and you've probably seen it 10 years ago.
Well, it's dope because the way that it established it is at that House of Pain scene where they go to the House of Pain and then they have that initial battle with the Reapers and Novak, and there's a bit where Novak we completely left out the fact that the patient 0 for the Reaper strain is Damaskinos' son. Now the people who go to recruit Blade is Damaskinos' daughter. We find out Nysa.
Yeah.
We find out right
son
at the top.
and daughter and father.
Right. So it's a family unit. It's a family movie ostensibly, but
it's a family movie. Take your
kids.
But
the motivations for these family members aren't known until very, very, very late in the game, and it's kind of brilliantly set up that way. So by
Shakespearean in
very
sense,
much, very much
it's
so.
about a king who. Because Damaskinos his whole plan is to try to make vampires immune to all the things that hurt them, and so he develops this sort of like a virus or a super virus or mutated virus, and he gives it to his son, who becomes Nomak. the Nomak runs rampant in killing everybody and infecting everybody. So then they get Blade to come in. But don't they get Blade to come in because they're also trying to recreate Blade?
Well, no, they
somehow?
need. Well, it's two-pronged. They're trying to kill Nomak because Nomak, having felt betrayed by his father, has gone on this. That's why he started infecting vampires in the first place. Like, you remember at the top of the movie where he goes to the blood bank and he kills all the people and he's like, I hate vampires.
Which was a question I had to Laurel last night. I was like, she was watching a little bit of it with me because we were just trying to recap it. And I was like, why does he go to a blood bank? Like, we couldn't figure out. That's why.
That's why.
Okay.
It's where the vampires congregate. It's where he could do the most damage to his father's organization and livelihood. And so basically, as you find out that Nomak's been betrayed, and because he's been betrayed, he wants revenge. But because his father is such a dick, he doesn't know where they're located. So when Blade, Damaskinos is using Blade to kill his son, who's been infected and wants to kill him, but he also needs Blade's blood in order to perfect the because Blade is one of the only vampires that can walk in sunlight. He's using Blade's blood to further his goal of weeding out the weaknesses that vampires have. So the science part of it is actually on point too.
Except that the only thing that hurts the Reapers that he ends up turning his son into is sunlight.
Well, that's why he needs Blade's blood because.
Oh, got it.
And the only reason why Nomak doesn't go along with it is because, like, well, look at him, like
he's got mandibles
for a face, right?
So I have some quick trivia because we're getting close to 2 hours.
I mean, we spent a lot of time in the news.
This has been super fun though. But some quick trivia. So essentially, the original baddie, the bad guy to Blade was Morbius because Blade was human.
Yes.
Blade was human, right? That
Yes.
was immune to being bitten by a vampire.
No, Blade was in the way that at the top of the first movie how they show you his mom getting attacked by a vampire.
Right, and then she comes back.
Yeah, well, she doesn't die from the vampire.
That was actually good. That was a good turn.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's his bent. His mom's that's why he is what he is, because his mom was attacked by a vampire when he was in a womb and he was born that way.
Right. I'm thinking about the comic book though. The original comic book. I think he's a human for a period of time. Anyways, eventually Morbius bites him. What's interesting is that they wanted to put Morbius in Blade 2, but Marvel would not sell them the rights.
Makes sense. Which is weird.
It is super weird.
It's weird that Blade was even made in the first place. Like how and like this is my opinion is that they just don't care enough about the black properties of Marvel.
Right.
That they were like, Blade, whatever, we don't give a fuck here.
Well, what I think happened was they sold Blade the rights to Blade in '98, right?
To Wesley,
and then it triples its money, right? It's $45 million production, and it triples.
What?
And then they go and say, okay, sell us Morbius because we want to put Morbius into Blade 2.
And they wouldn't.
And they wouldn't because then they realized, we can make money off of this.
And thusly, you get your Iron Mans, you get your subsequent Marvel universe thing.
Yeah. I mean, Blade's a really important movie.
Yeah.
In that it showed that they could make a serious, very humorless character of a superhero.
They could take a superhero comic book movie with a tertiary property, because Blade isn't even like A-list Marvel property, and he's a black dude.
Yeah.
So like those three things going against it, they were like, sure, yeah, here, take Blade, yeah, okay, make a movie. Thanks, Wesley. Just send the checks to here, whatever amount that'll end up being. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thanks.
Who is more serious, Blade or Batman?
That's tough. That's tough go, man. That's tough go. I mean, Batman at least had parents for a hot second. Blade spent most of his life just being like, the fuck? And now I gotta drink blood? Ain't this about a big?
Did you know that Blade was the first Marvel movie after Howard the Duck to get a theatrical release?
Wait, no shit.
Yes.
After Howard the Duck?
Yeah. They had TV movies.
Wow, Howard is and one of those the guys who created Blade actually did Howard the Duck too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an interesting through line.
I don't know who that is. I can't remember who that is.
I forget which one of the two guys who did it, but I think it was the guy who did
Marv Wolfman?
the House of
the Tomb of
Dracula.
Yeah.
Dracula.
That's Marv Wolfman, I believe.
I think that's the cat.
So Michael Jackson was supposed to be in this.
In what, Blade 2?
Yeah.
In what capacity?
In the House of Pain scene, or where they're all in like the club. Basically, Michael Jackson was supposed to play a vampire pimp.
Are you
Yeah.
No.
Now there's I
Negative,
can't.
Kevin. That is an urban ass legend.
If I was going to do a YouTube video, I'd do one of all the movies that Michael Jackson was supposed to have been in, but ultimately did not. Can you imagine Michael Jackson in that?
What movies has he actually been in though, other than like Moonraker?
I don't know.
Or Moonwalker.
Moonwalker, yeah.
Like he didn't like as a celebrity as famous as I don't think he ever made any like appearances in movies like that as himself.
He was supposed to, and it'd be a bunch, yeah. I'm trying to. It's on the tip of my tongue. If you're listening to this and you know Michael Jackson movies that he was supposed to be in, put them in the comments.
Or if you know of any movies that he actually was in, because I can't think of one off the top of my head where he played himself, or even if you're just in, you mean like Donald Trump has played himself.
Oh my gosh, you're right to look it up.
No. Let's
keep going.
To the comments. Yeah,
so I went on eBay just to like see what kind of Blade 2 memorabilia was out there. You can buy a Blade leather jacket for $300, a recreation.
I'm good.
You can get a Hot Toys Blade 1/6 scale action figure for...
The only thing I would want is that sword.
Okay, how much would you pay for that sword? I know how much it is.
I'd pay for that sword to... And I want it to work. I want it to do the thing with
it's
the
not
spikes.
sharp. It's not sharp, and I don't think it does the spikes.
See, I would want them...
So a blade sword without the spikes, it's not sharp, but looks pretty... You would
$200.
Pay $84.
That's crap.
No, it's a replica.
Ooh. No, I want it to be sharp, and I want it to do the thing where the handle has the time release spikes.
Yeah.
I want that.
Okay.
That's what it needs to do.
You can get the original Tomb of Dracula, the first Blade appearance for
Marvel.
Yeah, no. How much do you think it's for?
How much for the first appearance of Blade?
Yeah,
in the
Tomb of Dracula. Mint condition, perfect comic book, whatever they describe that as.
I'd say $2,300.
$9,750.
Wow, $10,000. Damn.
So you had talked to me a little bit before we started this podcast about some of the Blade video games.
Oh yeah, well. I played the movie tie-in to this movie.
We also didn't do video game news. We'll skip it this week. We're going along. All we did with video games this week was play Red Dead Redemption Online.
Well, I actually did Yakuza. I was finishing up Yakuza. Yeah,
I created my character on Red Dead Online, right? So at first I'm going through Red Dead Redemption Online, and I'm like, this is... I don't know why all the characters look terrible, but I'm like, no, it's Red Dead Online.
Of course they should. It's 18, whatever.
Right. So whenever I do a character creation, I always pick a female character. This goes way back to me, like a long time ago, playing video games and not feeling like an adequate male representation for what I'm seeing on screen. So I'd play as a female because that felt more...
And thus, based on that, I now have adopted that as well in my own life, where now when stories don't call for a female protagonist, but they give you the ability to make one, I now have opted for doing that as well. Yes. So yeah, you taught me something about it.
So long story short, my character for Red Dead Redemption 2, I come across a face that looks exactly like Leslie Jones.
Nah.
Yes. And then
Are you a black woman?
I'm a black woman. I am a black woman with the kind of pompadour haircut that I forget the character at the camp in Red Dead Redemption has.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about. It's it's huge and it's big, but you put a hat on her and she looks really cool and tough. That was my Red Dead Redemption Online 2 character. But so the video games for Blade 2 were there was originally a PlayStation game under Blade. Blade 2 had a PS2 game.
Yes. That's what I played.
And there was also an original Blade game for the Game Boy Color.
Wow, that's throwback.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you play any of those when they came out?
I played the one for the PS2. I played the video game tie-in for the PS2. Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
They're all bad. They're always bad.
I mean, they're always bad. They've yet to make a video game tie-in that wasn't a complete and utter travesty. You just haven't. I don't know what the
new Spider-Man doesn't count.
What's that?
The new Spider-Man?
No. The new Spider-Man doesn't count because the new Spider-Man isn't tied into any movie.
Oh,
the new Spider-Man is a standalone world that they created for the express purposes of that game.
My theory is that movies are roughly around 2 hours. Video games you want to be around a lot longer than that.
At least 10.
So to tie the thematic plot of a movie into a video game, they have to add all of this filler to it, and it ends up just being a bad game because of that. Which I think the new Spider-Man, which I haven't played, but you've played,
Oh, so
like,
good.
don't make it about the new Spider-Man movie. Just make a good Spider-Man game.
And that's what they did. They
You
made
know?
a great Spider-Man
Yeah.
game.
Don't worry about making the Blade game
see-
like a movie. Just make it a game where you get to play Blade and run around and do Blade stuff.
Well,
which
what you do to be fair
Okay.
in the PS2 version of Blade 2, it actually you're doing a lot of that, but the graphic content and like what you're doing is so subpar. Like, and then for me, I was like, well, maybe it was just early video games and they hadn't action video games and they just hadn't figured it out yet. But game of the year for 2002 was Halo. So it wasn't like they didn't have the technology to make it a better experience. It was just poor design and poor execution.
probably didn't have a big budget either.
Also probably.
Yeah, they probably.
But I
spent
mean,
shit.
if it's a movie tie-in, then I don't know, man. I feel like Warner Brothers or whoever, did the movie, forfeit the money for the movie, would be like, well, here's the money to make the game tie-in. Just make it not a shit show.
Do you want to guess the body count?
Oh, for which one? Blade 2?
Yeah, you got really close
Oh,
with
God.
Demolition
Okay,
Man.
let
You
me
guessed
think.
it like
Okay.
75, and it was like 72 for
Let me
Demolition
see.
Man.
For Blade 2 body count,
That includes all the Reapers, so it's
including all the Reapers.
yeah.
Okay, let me see. Man, it's got to be somewhere near like, I'd say 150, maybe 2.
Wow, 110. So I mean, you're close.
Oh.
Thanks for that clap. I also have to edit that.
Yeah,
clap
well,
out. Jerk. That just cost me 5
Well,
minutes
I'm
of my
excited.
future.
I'm
so that was-
excitable. I'm excited.
close.
I mean, like I said, I've watched these pictures, man. I would have thought it was more based on like the subterranean, like the sewer battle,
Yes.
like and all that. That's where I was like, yeah, it's got
With
to
the
be
light
close.
grenades. Yeah.
Well,
Cool. If
it's-
you've not seen Blade 2, see it.
It's a good movie.
If you like action movies, it's a good movie.
If you like action movies, it's a good movie. If you like comics, it's a good movie. If you like weird Ron Perlman, it's a good movie.
The other action movies that were out in 2002, okay, Spider-Man,
Which one?
Tobey
The first
Maguire,
one?
the first one, yeah.
Wow.
I believe this one came out first.
Wow, that was out the same time
Yes.
as Blade 2.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there's a larger conversation about how Blade helped Spider-Man become possible.
I agree. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Twin Towers,
Wow. Okay.
Equilibrium with Christian Bale, the best
Oh, that was a dope movie. And Christian Bale and
the best Christian Bale movie.
what's that black guy?
Yeah.
He was in Rent.
Yeah, he's been in everything.
he was in- God, how am I blanking on
No,
him?
not Mekhi Phifer. We'll
Trey
think about it.
Diggs.
Trey Diggs. There you
Or
go.
Tay Diggs.
Tay Diggs. Resident Evil.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it was a video game super comic
Yeah.
year.
Minority Report.
Good movie.
Attack of the
Underrated.
Clones. Star Wars. Did you see this? Did you see Blade 2 in the theater?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Reign of Fire. Have you ever seen Reign of Fire?
You mean the McConaughey dragon picture? Hell yeah.
Can we do Reign of Fire the next time?
should.
The next time we don't have a movie that we see in the cinema,
We
we're
should.
gonna do
We should
Reign of
definitely
Fire.
do
Laura
Underrated.
loves it. I love it.
Underrated
Underrated.
by a lot. It's a
And
dope
I
movie.
would say the first 35, 40 minutes, it's like an A movie. That kind of drops down to a B.
Really?
Yeah.
I
There's a
thought it
scene-
was a solid A all the way through.
Yeah. Okay. We'll come
I
back
saw-
to that. We're gonna do Reign of Fire. That's our next movie.
All right.
Gangs of New York came out in 2002. Catch Me If You Can. Harry Potter news for Mary Kirstein. Chamber of Secrets came out then.
Which was when I really kind of got hooked into the Harry Potter. That
Yep.
was the one that I was like, oh, these are starting to get better.
Yeah. It was the same thing as Harry Potter 1, but it was getting better. I agree.
I wasn't a fan of that first Harry Potter. I thought it was a little too kid for me.
Oh, they were kids.
Yeah, which made sense, and that's why like as these movies got along, they got a little bit darker and a little bit more adult. And I was like, oh yeah, these are good pictures.
There's a Doctor Strange reference,
In what?
Blade 2.
Really?
When they're in the church after House of Pain and they kind of escalate to the church scene. Where
After he's fought Nomak for the
yeah,
first time.
yeah, I don't know how Nomak knows Kung Fu, but actually now that I think about it, the more I think about the movie, it makes sense because Nomak is a vampire.
And
he
he's
probably
a
knows how to
vampire.
fight.
He's a vampire lord.
Vampire lord, so he knows how to fight, so that's why. But when they're fighting, if you look in the background, Guillermo del Toro made a replica of the Eye of Agamotto, the medallion that
Yeah.
Doctor Strange wears out of his chest. It's the stained glass window. there was a while where Guillermo del Toro really wanted to direct a Doctor Strange movie well before Benedict Cumberbatch.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting little fact, Tom.
Yeah, that's a little good
We
one.
didn't even talk about Blade 3, the one where had all the issues.
Well, hold on. Let me give you just a little... I want to talk about the movies that were out at the same time as Blade. So, in the theater, you had the choice of Son of the Bride. I don't know what that is.
Son of the Bride.
And Sorority Boys. This was March 21st.
Is that Sorority Boys? That's the one with the dude who played Lex Luthor, and they
tell me, man.
I'm pretty sure it's the one where these 3 dudes go to college and join a sorority. I've seen it. I'm almost positive.
Yeah, 2000. No, not sorority, not Playboys. Sorority girls.
Yeah, IMDb. You know what you're into. We know your history.
Yes.
It's that. Yes,
It looks offensive.
It's kind of bad.
It looks really offensive. It made like 80.
No money.
It was the second biggest movie of March 2002.
Serious?
The previous week before, could see
that was the choices you had at
the time. Yeah,
Wow.
Basically, yeah.
Sorority
Son of the Bride
Boys.
and Sorority Boys and Blade 2. It's like no wonder it did good. There was nothing in the theater that weekend. The week before, you could see Ice Age.
The first one?
Yep. That made the most. That made a ton of money.
Yeah.
Resident Evil, which was surprisingly pretty decent.
Yeah, for a video game property?
Yeah, and Y Tu Mama Tambien. If you lived in some place that had like local indie theater, right? IFC, right? The week after Blade came out, Clock Stoppers, which is a good time travel movie if you haven't seen it.
I think it's the one where the kid at the watch, his dad creates some sort of watch or whatever.
Let me look and make sure it's the movie. Yes.
And then he's trying to keep it from these people who want it.
Oh no, it's not the movie I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of another time travel movie. It's this one right here. It looks like it's got...
I think this is the one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Where this...
Jesse Bradford, French Stewart, Paula Garcia's...
Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
Right, so basically you're going to see Blade 2, for 2 weeks in a row. Oh, and The Rookie in Panic Room came out the week after. Panic Room with Jodie Foster.
And The Rookie, the baseball movie with the kid?
Yes, I think so.
Saw Panic Room, saw The Rookie. I saw all these movies, but yeah, Blade 2 would have been my pick.
2002 was with Dennis Quaid is The Rookie.
Yes,
You're not going to see that. So for 2 weeks, basically, you're going to see Blade 2. That's all you're going to see for 2 weeks.
So it made its bones off those first 2 weeks.
So I wanted to talk very quickly about Blade Trinity, which I've not seen, but there is like legends about why this movie is so bad.
I mean,
tell me. I have a little thing here I'm going to read about Blade Trinity.
Okay. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Oh wait, actually, before we do that, one sidebar. This is what's happening with Blade at Marvel, according to Kevin Feige, as of 2 years ago.
Are we talking about Marvel, the MCU?
Yes, MCU. What?
They're going to make another movie.
Could they, or would they, or might they? Hopefully they will. Here's what Kevin Feige says 2 years ago. They did ask a long time ago, and I think our answer was no. We'll do something with Blade at some point. That's still the answer. We think he's a great character, a really fun character. You know, this movie, Doctor Strange, that's what they were promoting at the time. This movie going into a different side of the universe has fun potential for him to pop up, and between the movies, the Netflix shows, the ABC shows, there's so many opportunities for the characters to show up, and you're all still now with Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that rather than team up with other studios with that character, we'll do something cool on our own. What that is and what that will be, we'll see. There is nothing imminent to my knowledge. Because there were rumors for a while that and Wesley Snipes at a San Diego Comic-Con had said, like, yeah, well, I'm talking to Marvel, maybe we'll do it. This sounds like they put it on hiatus. Is he getting too old to do Blade thing? He is, right? They would recast him.
They would have to. But here's the thing. I thought for a long time that at some point in my life I was going to play Son of Blade.
You still can.
It is literally the dream of my life.
I'll do a play. I'll write a play where we play Son of Blade, the off Broadway play production.
I always dreamed or imagined that I'd be further along enough in my career that would be a conversation I'd be having where cats would be like, yes, so you want to play Son of Blade? I'm like, I was born for this.
I agree. You know, he is very, very good at the martial arts in this.
Wesley Snipes is an actual martial artist.
Yeah, and they talked about with Blade.
Your boy.
with Blade Trinity that he started to get competitive, but with Blade 2, it was kind of him and Donnie Yen, and I forget Luke Goss, who plays Nomak. They were very competitive in a good way with their martial arts. When they get to Blade Trinity, things kind of go wrong.
Oh yeah. Well, they Triple H is in that cast.
Oh God.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and for the layman, that's a wrestling.
I need you to explain. I know that he was a wrestling guy, but
He was and not only a wrestler, he married the daughter of Vince McMahon.
right.
So he is ostensibly set for freaking life. This guy, a wrestler like the action sequences in the movie in the third one weren't really that great.
No, okay.
I
heard that there was less of a focus on Blade and more on Ryan Reynolds,
a little bit, yes,
and Jessica Biel's character, yeah.
yes. Because in the third movie, you find out that Whistler has a daughter.
No.
Because basically, what he told you
Is it Jessica Biel?
Yes.
Yes.
And what he tells you in the first movie is that his wife and kid got murdered by a vampire, and he made him watch. Blah 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 blah.
Oh
blah.
yeah, that's sad.
Right.
That was a sad moment. And then he finds his ring in the second movie. He's taped behind something. If you
Right.
watch, yeah.
He taped his wedding ring behind whatever. And that's the other thing we kind of glossed over in the telling of this story is that Whistler at the end of the first Blade movie, we think dies.
Yeah.
Turns out he doesn't die.
They leave it open, but
He turns. And so at the top of Blade 2...
The very, very top. He's basically like, I'm looking for Whistler.
Yeah. It's 2 years later. Like, when you go from the top... At the top of Blade 2, it's 2 years later, and Blade is basically looking for Whistler and has found him in some place in Prague, like in a amniotic vat floating in the sand. And then he gives him a retrovirus that reverts him back to human. Didn't know you could do that, but apparently you could.
Yeah. Just for this instance.
So Whistler gets cured of vampirism, goes back to being a human, and I guess it must have happened earlier on because at this point in the third movie, Jessica Biel's a full-grown adult woman and is Whistler's reveals that she's Whistler's daughter, and so the story actually becomes more about her the way that Whistler and Blade had been kind of killing vampires by themselves for the first two movies. It's more about Jessica Biel and Ryan Reynolds' group of vampire killers.
So he gets a little jealous, and he writes, Wesley Snipes writes a letter to New Line Cinema and tells them basically as such that this movie feels like it's more about them. And at the time, David... the other thing about Trinity is like the first two movie is directed by something totally different. It's written by David Goyne, right? That's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's written by him, but the third movie he directs.
Oh.
Right, now tell me what you heard about Trinity.
Okay, so if that's the case, if Goyer is the guy who directed that third one, then... So Wallon said, and this is something I read recently about that movie, is that there was an altercation on set where Wesley Snipes ended up choking out the director. Like, choked him to sleep. And after that point, the two...
Hold on, pause there. Because what I read was that for all of these movies, Wesley Snipes was method acting as Blade.
Right.
So when he was on set, he was Blade.
Right.
And if you tried to be like, hey, Wesley, pass me the ketchup, he would do it in the character of Blade.
He'd be like, that's not ketchup.
That's not ketchup.
That's blood.
That's blood. He's like, I'm pretty sure it's ketchup.
All right, man, whatever, bro. Just hand me the damn bottle. No, so he choked. If that's the case, he chokes out this guy, and then because the relationship had gotten so bad that they stopped speaking after the chokeout incident. Obviously, they stopped talking, but they had to still shoot this movie. And how do you talk to an actor that's not whatever? So for the rest of the film, how they would interact with each other was through Post-it notes. They would write each other notes, and then some intern would then carry the note to and from. So it became this real contentious thing on set. And the other thing I read from this production is that over the course of filming, Wesley wouldn't come out of his trailer. When he wasn't out on set, he was in his trailer smoking weed all the time.
That's the Patton Oswalt quote. I have that quote.
Patton Oswalt. Yeah.
So Patton Oswalt,
who's also on that in Blade 3.
He plays a character called Hedges
with Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah, And he says it was a very troubled production. Wesley was just fucking crazy in a hilarious way. He wouldn't come out of his trailer, and he would smoke weed all day. And then Wesley sat down with David and was like, I think you need to quit. You're detrimental to this movie. And David was like, why don't you quit? We've got all your close-ups. We could shoot the rest with your stand-in.
Wow.
And that freaked Wesley out so much that for the rest of the production, he would only communicate with the director through Post-it notes.
Wow.
And he would sign each Post-it note from...
Blade. Yeah. Yep. Gangster.
Blade.
Gangster. And he also took to calling Ryan Reynolds that cracker. He would never call Ryan Reynolds by his name. He was like, tell that cracker to get out of my sideline or whatever. So
that's how whenever I talk to Ryan Reynolds, I also refer to him as that cracker. Who don't?
It was apparently he didn't want to do that third film or that version of the third film, and he let it be known over the course of filming that film that he was not happy. Our man Wesley, the tax evader.
Well, so I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think we got
to get to lunch here because I'm starving.
I could definitely eat. But yeah, so that's our Blade 2. What we into.
Thank you so much for listening. This has been the third episode. It's been great so far. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the thing. If you're finding this on iTunes, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. You can email us directly any question you have. We will absolutely read it. We will put you on there pretty much with whatever you say, even if it's mildly offensive, at least to us. At whatweinto@gmail.com. WHATWEINTO@gmail.com. I'm your host, Lawrence Dial.
And I'm your boy, Rob Karma Robinson.
Thank you so much. Have a Merry Christmas. Actually, we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Peace.
Ooh, so exciting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep your friends close. Keep your enemies closer.
Calling all freaks. Calling all freaks now.
Here I am, Blade. Wesley Snipes.
Not know who you are messing with.
Blade 2.
Calling all freaks.